Jacob. So
this dude showing up with a freaking 10
There's
ton.
so much, and even if we had more, I don't think it.
oh my god.
Vaughn getting just does a burnout.
No, that is that
Oh,
Vaughn?
no, I like this.
You also have gigantic hands.
In that car right now. We didn't fly all the ways here to watch you walk around in a sling.
Look, the holidays are coming. I don't know which holiday it is. Could be Valentine's Day. Could be Arbor Day. Could be any day. Might be Black Friday. Might be Christmas. I have no idea when this ad is coming out. But what I do know is that you can use podcast 25 at checkout and save yourself 20%. So why haven't you done it yet? Hey, everybody. Before we get this episode started, there's a couple things I want to chat about really quickly. And I also want to say, please stick around to the very end because there's a couple of important updates that I want everyone to know about. So first off, this is the last episode of the season. Thank you, Mad Mike Whiddett, for letting me, check out the space, get a tour, and do this podcast. We are going to be taking a bit of a break. Just giving you that heads up. We'll have more details about that later on at the end of the episode. Second part is we had a small camera malfunction partway through this video. So there's going to be about, I think, a 15-minute chunk where the video had a massive error. We cut it out. So it's just going to be like cool shots of Mad Mike. So if you're listening to this on audio, you got nothing to worry about. On video, if you see that, just know that it is coming back. So without any further ado, here is the episode with Mad Mike Whiddett. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Outerzone, the official podcast of Formula Drift. My name is Jacob Gettins, and this week we're in New Zealand with Mad Mike Whiddett. What is going on, dude?
Well, how was the 12-hour mission, mate?
It was good. It was good. Other than I was supposed to be here yesterday, and there was a massive storm in Orlando, like with the hurricane going on in Jamaica, I guess like big stuff. Anyways, so I had like a 5-hour delay and then had to wait an entire day before I got here. But it worked out well. It means I got off the plane like two hours ago and came right here. So
well, that's me pretty much every week.
Yeah.
Like even Japan's still like 10 hours, so we do that a lot.
It seems so close, though. Like, it seems like it should be a lot closer.
Well, the good thing, like, if I leave, like, you going home, like, if you left on, say, a Sunday night, you'll land in LA, and it's Sunday morning. So you get the whole day back.
But coming here, you lose an entire day, so...
Yeah, we've done that before, actually, with Red Bull Drift Shifters, one of the teams. One of the mechanics on the crew lost his birthday. Literally flew out on the 7th, landed on the 9th. He's like, what happened to the 8th? Like,
I never thought of that.
But I was like, if you just stay a little bit longer, you could have like New Year's and then fly back to the States and have New Year's all over again.
Yeah, you could. I feel like people have done that. There was somebody did that with, I think, a concert where like they played a show in like London and then flew back and then did one in like New York or something in the same day.
Yeah. Possible. I mean, New Zealand, we're in the future down here, man. We already know what's happening tomorrow.
You should. There you go. There's your next pitch. You should do like 2 different spots or something within the same day. There's got to be some weird world record where you could go drifting here, get on a plane, fly to LA, and then go drifting there and have some sort of like furthest distance between 2 races within a day or something like that.
Yeah.
There you go. Something there.
Yeah.
But, dude, New Zealand, obviously incredible. My second time back, although last time I only had a few days. I got a full week now. Your opinion, anybody coming to New Zealand, whether you're gearhead or not, where should someone go given like 3 or 4 days in this country?
Well, you got to hit Queenstown. Like whenever we've got our events or whenever we've got guests or whoever comes to New Zealand, I'm like, just give me a week of your time. Okay. Go hit the South Island. Obviously, we're based up here in North Island. We're littered with race tracks and motocross tracks and BMX tracks. And like, there's a lot of stuff to do. Everything's kind of a stone's throw. Yeah. We've got snow if it's seasons, like, 2-hour drive from here. You got coastal bays, so if you're a surfer, you can literally hit the East Coast. If the surf's crap, you can head over to the West Coast like within 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But Queenstown is the place where, you're jumping off bridges, jumping out of planes, jet boats, getting close to rocks. Like, you got Highlands Motorsport Park down there in Cromwell. And it's just so picturesque, It's like, it's always, like I say, give me a week of your time and you'll enjoy it. We've had, Drift Shifters, Forsberg and Deander and Turk and all the boys, Daigo Saito and everyone down, and they're always like, it's common phrase that they're like, man, that's like the best trip we've had.
Yeah, I've noticed with Kiwis in general, it's like you guys are so proud to show people where you're from. And I don't know if that's just because it's such a small geographic place or because it's such a different spot in the world, but like anybody that I've met here has been like, have you seen this? Have you gone here? Let me show you this. Let me take you to my spot or whatever. It's a very interesting cultural thing down here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, our population's like 5 mil, so pretty much everyone knows everyone.
Yeah, fair.
There's more sheep than humans, I hear.
I've read that stat as well. Yeah, it's the country. The population's the same as Chicago.
All right.
To give you an idea,
Yeah.
which isn't even the biggest city in America. It is a very, very special place down here. And the shop, dude, this is wild. You were already talking about how like you're running out of space here because you've got all these builds on the go, not to mention everything else, in the back room behind us. But weird question, like why stay here and do this all in New Zealand? Why not set this up in the US or why not set this up in Europe? Like why keep the roots here?
Yeah, I mean, for me, growing up as a Grom, never met my father with Mum, and I always had that California dream. My auntie, she had Sky TV. So in New Zealand, we only had like 3 channels, unless you had a satellite. And that word, if you had the satellite, you could catch ESPN.
Okay.
So she'd record on the VHS, like the Supercross, Ricky Johnson, Jeremy McGrath, and they were like my heroes. And I always wanted to live in California. Like that was a dream to move up there. Chase that dream through motocross, freestyle motocross. Never made it. And that to get overseas to a USA. But 2010, we signed the deal with Need for Speed, Red Bull, to do a whole campaign of full series of Formula Drift. And, that was, I've been drifting for about 4 years then. But I, like, once getting up there and doing it, like, it was cool because we literally, Tony and I, we traveled the whole of USA. I think back then the cheapest way to get my car to every single event was pay Formula Drift. Back then it was 30 grand, and they would transport your car on a flat deck.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that.
No tools or anything. They would just literally get your car, and I'm like, whoa, freaking 30 grand! That is so much money. Yeah. I'm like, holy! People are paying that just to get a car flat decked across the states.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking on Craigslist and Marketplace and all these, sites, and I ended up buying a Dodge Ram that we body dropped and airbagged, and then we brought this like live-in trailer that was like 44-foot trailer. It had like 20 foot of living quarters, and so Tony and I got to live out. We literally drove from one end of this, and like it's not a loop. When you're doing Formula Drift, you don't just do a loop around the states. We're like zigzagging, crossing. We had Montreal as well, so up into Canada, but it was like the coolest way to see the states. But for me, like, that time away from family, like I've never met my father's side, but just my mum's side, and with the kids, I just had Link as well. And I was just like, man, if I could, it just made me really appreciate what we have in New Zealand. And for me, I'm like, man, if I could run my program, like most of my stuff is international anyway. Yeah. Whether I was based in Japan or based in New Zealand or based in USA, like it wouldn't really matter because we've got to travel a lot. We're shipping logistics of the cars moving around the place, whether they're in planes or boats. It's a lot. And I think for me, having the kids and the family, like having whānau was like the most important part of my program and keeping everyone together. So as much as I wanted to like move in USA, it would have been a lot easier, I reckon, for the program to do it based in USA. Plus you're in the mecca of all the big brands, of like all the people we're dealing with. We're here in New Zealand, and a lot of the companies we're dealing with here, sometimes I don't even know who the distributing person is for a lot of these companies we deal with. Yeah. But so I don't know, harder to do it out of New Zealand, but way more rewarding. And for us, like I say, whānau's everything, and being able to keep it in-house. Yeah,
I'm sure, I mean, the kids thing will always change your plans. Like I have 3 kids at home. Where you think you're going before kids and where you end up going is often like the paths are parallel, but they're definitely not, exactly where you think it's going to be. But you've done an incredible job of making sure that your kids have all the opportunity to do the stuff that maybe you want them to do, but it never, at least from the outside looking in, seems like you were like, you have to do this thing. It was always like, you guys have this giant sandbox. I have all these connections. If you want to get into drifting, if you want to do off-road, if you want to do whatever, you can do it, but you don't have to. But it'd be super cool if you did.
Well, it took Link 11 years before he was like, oh, Dad, can I build a drift car? Which is like the little MX-5. He was racing and drifting the off-road karts, and of course being involved in being around drifting since he was born. Like we were in California at D1GP World All-Stars. He wasn't even a year old, and then we're in Long Beach for Formula Drift World Drifting Championship. Again, like it was raining ash, and for me, people were like, like even friends of mine that are like, oh, I can't come out tonight because I got kids, or I can't because I got kids. I was like, I am because I got kids.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm like, I'm just literally gonna like take them along for the ride, and Link's obviously absorbed a lot of it through his years of being around it. But it's been funny, from traveling around Europe with Freddie when we were doing Team Need for Speed and the Speed Hunters gig, and staying at Freddie's. And I'll never forget because Freddie has Denmark's not far from Norway, right, with the mecca and homeland of Lego. And Link shows up to Freddie's place, and there's all these sick cars, and Link's just like overwhelmed with Freddie's Lego collection. He's got the old pirate ship, and so Link's like not even 4 years old, and he's pulling it all apart, and Freddie was as cool as. But the life experience of them being able to travel, and now Link, he's got his own car in Japan, his 6-road MX-5. He goes up there now without Dad.
That's crazy.
He's New Zealand champ for the off-road racing, so it's something he's chased since he was born, pretty much. I remember always with kids, it's always like, people, oh man, my boy was walking at like 6 months old or 8 months old. I'm like, man, Link couldn't even walk when he was like 2.
Yeah. Because
he would just drive everywhere. He figured out he would crawl up to his little buggy that I'd made him, some Power Wheels I'd got out of Walmart, and shipped back to New Zealand and made radio control or done whatever, and he'd climb in and he'd just drive himself around. So, late walker.
Yeah. Early driver.
Early driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think some of that connection now is like maybe making up for a bit of lost time from the early days? Because like being on the road constantly it's not easy. It's very glamorous. A lot of people can look in at it and be like, oh, like you get to do all this stuff. Meanwhile, it's a lot of like alone time in hotels and cars and airplanes. So like, is it now that like opportunity to make up for that lost time earlier on? And that's obviously more than just Link. Like
For myself, definitely. Like we're now 20 years into drifting.
Yeah.
Since I kind of discovered it on a Japanese DVD. But now we've got option DVD. Yoichi Mamura was my friggin' hero. RX-7. I've still got his autograph on Mad Bull. There's my first drift car.
No way.
And I've still got his autograph on there from when he came to New Zealand and we qualified. But no, now to have it at a point where we're kind of like cherry picking these events. Yeah. Like for me, it's like it's a balance between I still want to compete at the highest level, so if I can wild card certain events and go and do that, because I love to not so much do what the judges want to see, but I still love to go and entertain for the fans. Yeah. But at the same time, still being able to do the film shoot stuff with Red Bull, good to the demonstration stuff. Now I feel very fortunate being able to, help elevate drifting to the masses of a total different genre of motorsport, from introducing drifting at Goodwood Festival of Speed in 2014. Now we're 11 years and we've built some of the most wild cars. We've brought drifting into partner with Lamborghini factory out of Italy. We're building, $4 million McLaren. We chopped to pieces last year.
Such a good series.
And for me, like now doing drifting demonstrations at Formula One, and I think of course, for myself and our program, it's great, but I'm more honoured to be able to showcase our sport. When people are like, excuse me, you're going to do some donuts on the front straight. I'm like, I'm going to be coming past here like 280 kilometres an hour, sideways. Yeah. We're in Austria and Humble, which is our Formula D Japan Championship winning car from 2018. Yeah. Untouched. Like the car is the same spec, and they clocked us faster than the GT3 Porsches, sideways, waving to the kids on the fence, and I'm like, when it triggers the kids to chase their dreams, like that's what I love about drifting. It's so attainable. And like I honestly believe, we're talking about the kids and Link racing, go-karts and all that, like honestly drifting is way cheaper than even running kids in go-karts. Yeah. Because you can literally just go out there and have any car that's rear-wheel drive, use something you can capture on your phone, and you can post it to Instagram, and it may get 10,000 views. It may get 100, it may get a million. Yeah. And it's captured so simply, where you're chasing a championship, whether it's Formula One, whether it's kids racing go-karts, you're relying on being on the podium and that being the exposure. Yeah. Which is big investment, because if the dude in the pit's next to you and he's putting brand new tyres on, blink, bro, we need to be putting new tyres on. If he's putting a new motor in for every heat, we need to be putting on a new motor.
Chasing the budget all the way
I'm
through.
like, holy hell, this is so expensive. And I guess the same as drag racing. I never got into drag racing when I was young because it was so expensive. Yeah. To go fast, you have to have money to be able to afford freaking big horsepower or more traction. Where I'd just rock up for the burnout comps, man. Like Rotors would always do a good skid, and that was us at the end of the day. So, to be able to build this career out of, essentially, like I say, it's the easiest, cheapest way to get into four-wheel motorsports.
And it's one of the only ones where you can start with a vehicle and scale it with competition, right?
Yeah.
Where like with go-karting, that can't happen. This chassis is built for this spec. You know, if you're going to go up into shifter carts, you can't start with like the little 5-horse. That does not scale. You're replacing it. This, like, I mean, we've got NA Miata.
I've got cars that's it. I'd go to. I remember being in the grandstands at Irwindale, you know, and listening to the fan. Like, I'm competing, but then at the same time, I'm listening to the fans, and they're like, "Oh man, I'd love to do this," but they're watching a brand new Dodge and a brand new Corvette and a brand new Mustang. Like, man, I'm never going to be able to afford that. And I'm like, fuck, imagine if we built like a MX-5.
Yeah.
You know, something you can literally find on Marketplace for a few grand. And
Not
then,
anymore, but at the time,
yeah. So people like advertising MX-5s, like same shape as Lincoln Whiddett. It's like, it's still just an NA MX-5. But no, but that it makes people like, oh man, frick, maybe I could do this. Even if it's not going drifting, it's like I can do it piece by piece. I could buy the body kit, I can do the graphics, I can do the wheels, and start that process of getting into it, going and doing. You know, there's not many sports you can build a car. Like we were building, like Mad Bull, well, I literally built my garage in Auckland. Like we didn't even have a hoist or anything. We built that car, yet we were competing in USA versus Japan at the highest level in a car that was a garage built, you know, 3-rotor, hand built freaking thing. You know, I remember taking all the locking collars out of the suspension because I just wanted it as low as possible. You know, like there's another 7 millimeters in my collar, and like then the exhaust will actually drag on the ground at Irwindale Speedway. I remember showing up in Reese Millen saying, "This car is not going to work." Being a fellow Kiwi, he's like, you know, look, you can use my shop to wrench on the car and do this and that. And but he's like, that car is not going to work because it's as wide as it is long and it's freaking on the ground. I'm like, well, it seems to work pretty sweet back in New Zealand. Yeah. And for me, it's always been like that style balance of like, that's drifting. It's like, same with my background of freestyle motocross I don't even remember doing a rider's briefing on what they wanted to see. It was always, if the fans were into it, just send it.
Yeah, that's been such a cool theme throughout your career where it's like you never compromised what you wanted to do, even if it meant the competition side wouldn't go as well. There's, you know, the famous backy in Atlanta where you know, Jared, I gotta
not the prettiest.
Not the prettiest. I'm sitting like, I remember I know. He's retracted that statement officially years and years ago, but that was like, to me as a fan back then, I look back, I'm like, what do you mean not like, not the prettiest in the judge's eyes, but like, this is why I like drifting. And what's been interesting with your career as a whole is that you are arguably, and I don't know exact numbers, but like, let's say top 10 most successful financial side drivers in the world. But like on the actual competition side, you got one FDJ championship, a whole bunch of D1NZ seconds. But like, you've somehow been able to build this incredible program without necessarily having the success of being multiple time champion. So I think it is proven to a lot of people though, that like, to be successful, there's not just one way to get there.
No, there's drifting. There's not many sports that are 4 wheels or racing that you can do that. Right. You think if you're like I was just talking about before, go-karts, man. Like if you're trying to get a deal, you know, like you're looking at. Even when I first started drifting, just getting someone to help change my tires, I'm like, far out, I even need to get tires. Redline Performance was like one of my first partnership deals, and that was, they would import a container load of 80% used tires out of China. And I would go in there on a Friday afternoon. All I had to do was stack them into their like 225, 4017s, 235s. So I'd just put them in their sizes so then they could put them on the shelves. Yeah. And if I did that, I'd spend like 6 hours like doing like longer than that, like just hustling, pulling all these tires out of the container. And then I'd just pair them up. They'd give me 6 tires. And back then, 6 tires would last me all day because we were running so much camber. Things were axed, you know, we'd swap the tires around halfway through the day. We'd flip them on the rim and then run them, even if they're directionals, you could flip them onto the other side or whatever. And
you argue they give you better grip if you ran them backwards or they smoke more or whatever.
And like, to me, that was a big deal. Now we're signing multiple 7-digit, you know, contracts. And it's like, it's crazy, but there's not, and like you say, I haven't got there from being on the podium every. I'm not James Dean, where I'm on the podium every single freaking weekend. Like for me, I just I took the same mentality that I had when I was a kid, and because I didn't have much when I was young, I found it really easy to level up on myself. Like on a day, whether it was freaking on my BMX bike, jumping a plank on some bricks. Where I was like leveling up with one more brick. You know, it's always like find the limit, work back from there. Mum's always like, Mike, I don't know if that's the best idea, you know. And that's just kind of been this process and this mental process that I still go through this day. And I feel like for me, what's most important about showing up to the events for my team is that we all go and have fun.
Right.
And for the fans is that I'm inspiring them to chase their dreams, and then they're getting their $20 worth. You know, that for me is way more important than a trophy that's going to sit on here. Same with like scars and stuff like that. They're all stories that, you know, it's, you know, back in those days we didn't have the social media, and, you know, we weren't filming our, you know, freestyle motocross. We weren't filming our surgeries to get freaking millions of views on bloody Instagram and all that. You just tell the boys, like, bro, I'm going upside down. They'll be like, fuck yeah, bro, you got this, you know. And then you just go and send it, and then you land it, or you're healing for 4 weeks with pins and plates and rods, and then you're back chasing the dream.
Yeah, and then it's just a rumor and maybe a Polaroid if you're lucky.
Yeah. I have to show you some of the best of like now with social media, and people like when they're moving house and they find like developed photos, and they'll like take a photo on their phone of a developed photo and tag me on Facebook or Instagram, like, oh my gosh, that shit's so cool. You know, it's like, who had $20? Do we have $20 for gas to get there, or do we have $20 that was like a Kodak roller camera and maybe get some snaps of the day? Yeah,
I remember you posted, I think it was about a year ago, of like someone got a really good freestyle shot of you, and you wrote a big like post about how this was one of the last freestyle events that you had done, and like you wrecked pretty hard, and then it wasn't long after that more or less like the famous burnout that kind of kicked off your career. So it is neat to see how you have developed with that as the times have gone, where it was like you were kind of a mythological creature in freestyle motocross back then, because people would talk about like, he's trying dumb shit, he's crashing all the time, but like the fans loved you because even you just attempting to do something was bigger and crazier than guys landing these nuts tricks.
I remember when like we did the first ever freestyle motocross demo here in New Zealand, 1999, and it was a big day out. And there's like Prodigy and freaking all these big brands had come. It's a big music festival, and they set us up. And Mike Peru, he was the announcer, he's a TV presenter here, and he started calling me Mad Mike. This is where the whole Mad Mike came from. I'm like, bro, can you stop calling me Mad Mike? And he's like, it's okay, I gave you the name, you didn't give yourself that name. And it just kind of stuck, because from then we had this dude come up and he was like, bro, like how much, like would you ride at my 30th birthday next weekend? And I'm like, oh, it's not my ramp, it's like Jason, he owns the ramp. But end of the day, Jason comes up and he's like, bro, like would you ride at this 30th birthday next weekend, like $500? And I'm like, oh, bro, count me in. I don't know where I'll find the money, but I'll suss it out. He's like, no, he'll pay us $500. I'm like, wait, what? Someone's going to pay us to come and be the entertainers? And that takes me back to, we talk about the podiums before and like how my career has grown with drifting and been successful. And it's not from getting podiums every freaking weekend, but it takes me back to my teenage days of potentially being New Zealand champion on my motocross bike that was 3-4 years old, showed up with my mum in a Ford Falcon station wagon, boot, like the bike's half hanging out the boot with her horse riding rope, like tying it down. And I was in top 3 and the podium, I was there. But that was not the vision. These fans that are yelling because I was jumping bigger and bigger, and I remember doing the triple on my 80. And there was only 2 of us doing it. And man, I was like, man, I'm watching my inspiration, Jeremy McGrath, you know, does the big knack on the last lap, shows his appreciation to the crowd at the LA Coliseum or whatever it is. And I'm like, this is my time. Whoop, do the big knack, crash, freaking lose a whole bunch of positions, come into, and, you know, I've got, you know, the guy that got second, his dad is yelling at him for stuffing around out there, like not putting in 100%. My mum comes up to me and she's like, Mike, you probably could have won that race. But I'm like, Mum, I nearly landed the knack.
Yeah.
And for me, the whole entertainment value to the fans was way more important than that trophy.
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
Like I said, I've kept that mentality the whole way through of inspiration and entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, the entertainment value is definitely key, and I think people get so caught up in wanting to win that they forget that if there wasn't fans, the sport doesn't exist.
Yeah, you get frustrated with drifting, any judge sport, if it's bloody boxing, gymnastics, freaking freestyle. Like if you come into drifting and you're too focused on the judging, you're always going to be frustrated. Yeah. Like because, man, judges are only human. Like now the cars are like, top 32 it's pretty much be a final battle now. Yeah. You know, and the cars are so gripped up. There's so much smoke. There's only so much a judge can see. And if you're like, man, frick, I should have won this, I should have won that. man, I've won battles that I'm like, how the hell did I win that? But I've lost them as well. And if you're too focused on that, I think you're just definitely in the wrong sport because you're always going to be frustrated.
Yeah, I think that's really fair, and it can just be little stuff too. Like, you come across line, whip a 360 or something like that, or like just even leaving the course, or certain drivers in the burnout box are like far more entertaining than others. Yeah. Like
I'd try to go to fourth gear in the burnout box just to pop the flames, and
it's the drivers that are banging off the rev limiter. I'm trying to remember who used to do it. Matt Kaufman. Yeah.
Well, because me and him would have like a burnout competition in the scrub box.
Yeah.
And it was like, what do you mean a competition? I'm like, dude, when I first got into drifting, I never looked at the podium as like top 4, because top 4 you're in the burnout comp. People are like, well, what do you mean the burnout comp? I'm like, well, top 4 get to do the victory skids.
Yeah.
So as long as I'm in the top 4,
I'm good.
I'm freaking good, man. I'm freaking on for the burnout comp at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's
But
Kaufman, a fun way of putting
Kaufman is like, I remember me going, and be chopping gears. I'm like, oh, bro, I'd come in and Rad Bull, and at the same time, I'm mentally thinking, bro, I've got to save my tires.
Yeah.
Because little Rad Bull was 1,200 horsepower. Thing was so hooked up, so fast. But we were trying to conserve tires. Like, this is the point where tire compounds were getting absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Cars were getting so gripped up. And you can't just do 200% runs.
No.
You would have to, for us, we were trying to conserve tires. However, I'm still in the burnout box doing a scrub trying to win the burnout comp against Kaufman was always my biggest competitor,
Yeah.
But entertainment value.
Which is funny because you guys are kind of competing now, just on two different sides of the planet. Him doing the crazy stuff at Laguna, and then obviously you've got all your crazy stuff here. So it is funny that all these years later and still an ocean apart, you're both doing insane shit. Almost, whether you know it or not, just kind of one-upping each other. Yeah. So that's funny how that's more or less continued on.
Well, yeah, oh man, it just keeps going back to that word entertainment, you know, and it doesn't. So I got my wagon back, right, which is this thing here. This got me in so much trouble. Like when I was this was my actual car.
Same one from that T-shirt.
Yep, on the T-shirt. Like now, after winning Formula Drift Japan Championship, to inspire people, I'm like, you know what? I want to inspire people. Just because you've done something stupid in life doesn't mean you can't change. Yeah. Sometimes it's just about finding something or someone. And for me, was that Option DVD. And I was like, wow, they got a sport for this. Like that car. We had won Skid Fest events, which was back then, that was like the pinnacle in New Zealand. Like drifting had just kind of started, but like the Skid Fest was all V8s, like dominated by V8s.
Yeah.
We'd rock up in this thing. Dudes are throwing burgers at us. And I was like, bro, I just want to do some skids, man. And I went in there 2004, won the Skid Fest. The same year, discovered that DVD. And so we sold that car. Tony, she'd won King of Outerzone, so she was the first female to win that. So Mercedes, we'd rotor swapped and done all this crazy stuff to that thing. So we sold both of those cars to literally fund Mad Bull. And then, so then cycle after winning the championship in Japan, I'm like, I want to buy this car back. I want to tell my story that I discovered this DVD, and literally my life that was on such a rapid downhill spiral, like this DVD, these Japanese guys, like literally flipped my life around. Like we went to a D1NZ event. I remember seeing Fanga Dan and Gaz White come flying. They were like the pinnacle. Justin Roode coming flying in like 180 kilometers an hour back then with like barely a roll cage, Yeah. And I'm like, holy, they got their mates in the passenger seats. And Tony and I look at each other. She's like, you could do this. I'm like, yeah, we're doing this. And then so now, going back, buying that car back, transforming it into a car to go and compete in D1GP, which was the championship I discovered on the DVD, to compete in that exact car. And like the emotion that created last year, like we managed at the final round, Odd Diver, which was the round on the DVD, and I made top 16. I'm just like, bro. And still a lot of my heroes still competing in that championship, So for me to have that car come full cycle, and hopefully, like on the way, I've now inspired people to be like, yeah, you can change. Just because you've done some dumb crime when you're young, like sometimes that's only helped fuel what you need to, chase the career.
Without prying too much, how bad was that cycle in the beginning? Like, whatever you're willing to share, but like, how far down that dark hole were you?
I was as close as you could get to going in jail for a long time without going in jail for a long time. Like I spent a lot of late nights locked up, a lot of running from red and blue lights. Like we didn't have racetracks we could go to. we had the trade and exchange, which was a paper. No internet. Internet was around, but we didn't have it. We had a paper on Thursdays, and we could buy old Toyota Starlets, Mazda 323s for $100.
Yeah.
I had mates spending that on drugs and alcohol, and like I didn't need any of that, man. I was like, these cars, me and my buddy we would race to the local dairy, which is like your corner store.
Yeah.
We would go there, freaking like 5:30 on a Thursday, wag school. We'd catch the yellow bus out to wherever it was, drive it home, no license. Like I'd lost my license 3 times before I even had it. Before I was 2 years before I could even get a license.
Wow, and you'd already been pushed.
And like cars were just like, yeah, that was my passion. But like, bro, I was just fine after fine. I racked up over $80,000 worth of fines.
Oh my gosh,
like that's a lot of fines, man. And for me, I was kind of like, dollar down, chase me around, and
like
never having a father to tail me off.
Yeah,
Mum was always like, I don't know if this is the best decision. We were renting. I didn't have my own bedroom till I was 14. I slept in a bunk bed with my mum, had my Ricky Johnson and Jeremy McGrath posters up the top, but we were never home. Mum rode horses.
Yeah.
And I just had cars and like barely had half a toolkit, but I just got into rotors not because of fame. I just got them because they were unique. No one wanted them. They were cheap. They were fast. They were loud, and people would always cringe, and be like, "Oh my gosh, listen to those bloody teenage boys." I'm like, man, I was like 9 years old, being like, I just want to be that annoying guy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until a lot of just a cycle of big accidents of chasing the dream to get to California to do freestyle motocross. I remember doing X-Air here in New Zealand, and we had Tony Hawk come down, Dave Mira came down, Tommy Clowers, and I'm like, frick, all I wanted then was a Red Bull helmet, and hopefully these guys were like, who's this frickin' Mad Mike guy? Man, we need to take him back to California, put him on Crossy Demons of Dirt. Right. These were my heroes, because it was like when they were the pioneers of freestyle and entertainment, I'm like, this is how I'm going to make it to California. I'm going to be a freestyle rider. And then, broke my arm, broke my leg, I've got one leg left that's got no rods, pins, or plates in it. 2002, broke my back, got told I'd never walk again. And it was like that same time, within those couple of years of discovering drifting on a freaking DVD, option DVD.
Full dive at that point. Yeah.
Flipped it around. I met Tony at the same time. She's more than half the reason I am where I am, like way more than half. She's 98%. I have this talent of being able to drive that I learned, but she really learned like the whole business side of it as well. Of course, there's been able to drive. Yeah. There's also how to deliver. I've got the vision of how to be able to build these cars somewhere. It comes from something. But being, a sign writer by trade, a sign writer, like literally designing all my own graphics, designing stickers. My trade was being able to make stuff look cool. So you could give me, I could buy these $100 cars out of the trade and exchange, put stickers on them, we'd slam them. I just had this vision. We'd roll them to town on a Friday night. Like, people would be like, oh, bro, like, how much would you sell? I'd be like, oh, swap. I keep my wheels, my motor. And this is what we would do, like, every freaking weekend.
Okay.
And so I got into this, like a
trade-up game.
Game.
What can I get?
The license plate, thirsty. That's slang for thirsty, because rotors drink a lot of gas.
Yeah, and oil.
And oil, And so you are known for your license plate. Like New Zealand is probably, I would say, the most hardcore country when it comes to license plates, whether they're investment plates or just personalized plates. And that's like you as a character or the car as the character. It's like the personality.
Interesting.
So we would just swap. Yeah, I keep my motor, my wheels, and my plate. And we would do that on a Saturday. Then we'd roll town on a Saturday night. Same thing. Do skid, pulled over. Cycle of life. Yeah.
That one's gone. Grab the next one.
Yeah, now that's gone. That car get impounded. Go buy another car for $100.
Can I get the license plate back though?
Yeah. It's like, so that plate, you look at it now, it's been on a lot of cars.
That's the same one, huh?
It's the same one. And it's the same car. Like even in Japan, like, it's the replica. I'm like, no. This is the actual car that has seen it all with this plate. So
that's cool.
Yeah. I think for me, like, there's so many contracts I have that it's like, even your best mates, you can't even tell what's going on. And you want to sign a deal. I could go and tell my grandma, who she moved in with us through my teenage years to help mum be able to afford the house. And so she was seeing exactly what I was doing. And I remember telling her, I'm like, Nana, I've just signed this freaking contract with Lamborghini. Yeah. They're going to give me a $640,000 car. I've got 4 weeks to chop it into a drift car. Like, I don't even know what it looks like underneath. And she's like, Mike, isn't it crazy? You build all these cars and you're a world champion and you entertain the world and you're not even a qualified mechanic. I'm like, well, thanks, Nana. But I think that's the other cool thing with drifting is that, like, I would say 99% of the drivers out there are so hands-on with their car. They know like if there's a vibration on the car, they know what's going on.
Yeah.
They know what that is. If there's a breakage, they know how to drive around it. We'll tag a wall and the alignment's out. Steering wheel straight, not straight.
Yeah.
Like, you think of how many race car drivers be like, man, I'm boxing. I'm coming
I'm
into the
done.
pit. Car's wrecked. I'm like,
Nope,
no.
clutch kick back in.
Whoop
Yeah.
up. It's like, now I'm saving that 5-minute timeout. But there's not
We'll get
many.
it after this battle. Yeah.
That's it. And like, you learn to drive around problems. And that's the best drifters are the guys that can adapt. But like I say, it goes back to like the guys just being, and girls that are just being hands-on with cars.
Yeah, it is amazing anytime a drifter, even at like moderate to low level, steps foot into another vehicle or another competition, and then they just start wreaking havoc. People are like, what? Like, what are you doing? Even stuff like seeing drivers take strange racing lines in grip racing, and like you talk to the other competitors, and they're like, he's taking this line that like you shouldn't take this, but he can hold so much slip angle in the car that he's able to get through this apex like 5 miles an hour faster. And I do think this is a discipline that provides so much more.
Oh, for sure.
And it's really cool to see the crossover. The big one, obviously, for me, you and Max, that to me was a very pinnacle moment in the history of drifting. One, because I'm just like, I was rooting. I'm like, please make him a drifting fan. Because like if he comes over, I just want to see what he could do. And then after watching that video, I'm like, dude, it wouldn't take him long. Like it wouldn't take him long at all.
The hardest thing about that project was like, what of the fleet? Which car do I put him in?
Yeah.
I'm like, do I put him in the like FD championship car, something that's 1,200 horsepower, fully gripped up, so he experiences like, holy shit, this is like where drifting is at?
Yeah.
Or I'm like, you know what? I put him in Mad Bull, which is my OG drift car. It's like 600 horsepower wheel. It's got no torque.
Yeah.
But it's the old school HKS gearbox. Like, you have to freaking drive. It's like a 125 motocross
You gotta work
bike.
it, yeah.
You got to, and like, I remember him going in, it's like stalling it. And I'm like, bro, you just got to rev it to the moon.
V10. It's like a V10.
Just be aggressive.
Yeah.
Like, the gearbox is like, it's like, whoa, sheesh. I'm like, no, bro, you just got to be so savage and like, just be really aggressive. And for Max, like, to see his, like, just the passion of once, because we actually did the whole clip the day before without Max, because we knew we had him for 3 hours. So we had one of the YouTube guys come in, and he did everything but drive the car. So I took him through how to do a donut, how to do everything. So everything we did with Max, we just did just as a tuition of me driving. The one thing we didn't obviously do is just a freestyle run.
Yeah.
So when it came to putting Max in the car, we're like, okay, go, Max, you got the freestyle run. And then the production team were like, no, this is like handbrake into donuts. I'm like, no, Max just needs to do just a freestyle run. No, we haven't rehearsed this. We don't have the time. I just said to Max, I'm like, bro, just blaze off the set of tires and have some fun.
Yeah.
So he's like, the first bit, I'm like, no, just rev it. He's like, oh, what, freaking. And then instantly, like, just the smile, and then he just was straight into it.
Yeah.
I mean, the clip made out like he got it on the very first lap, but
there's
a little bit more. But
I know.
he could understand the balance, and then it was cool. And again, it's those sort of opportunities that they're great for me and our team. And Max coming, he's like, wow, this is the most responsive engine I've ever felt. So for a Kiwi-built Rotary.
Yeah, you're like,
our team are just like, wow, that is like, they're all got goosebumps,
Like we hand-ported
like,
this
wow,
engine.
we just, literally did that with like a Dremel and
like a paper cutout,
some DEFCON in the bloody motor. But for him to then, for me is then, it's more him experiencing the sport.
Right.
And how much that just instantly elevates the drifting. And for me, it's like, man, what can we do for this clip? This photo behind us, Crown Range, the first Red Bull clip to get 1 million views overnight.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and for us, that was cool. But to elevate the sport, it's like, wow, Red Bull are involved with drifting? Oh, shit, it must be serious. Okay, it's not just a bunch of boy races with Sylvia and RX-7s with bumpers hanging off and
it's
dirt
still
dropping.
that, but it's also this.
Yeah. There's all the different levels. Like, I'd love to go race WRC, but I can't afford it. I haven't got the support to do it. I go and do drifting because I've got the support to do it. Yeah. And I can do it, and it's fun, and it's entertaining.
It could roll over. I mean, I'm sure, you'd save up a little bit. You could get in there.
When I retire from all this, and I'm just in Link or Jet or what, Jet, so my daughter, she only just turned 10 yesterday, but she's more competitive than me in Link. But whoever, whatever happens, but I've said when I retire from all this competing and doing all the film shoots and demos, I'm just going to build like an old RX3, exactly like that one.
Okay.
but it's going to be a historic rally. I'm just going to do historic rally of New Zealand. Just the
That's
gravel
so cool.
roads. Ken Block used to come here, and he'd always like, you guys have the best freaking roads. And so that's my retirement as an RX3 historic rally car. And whoever wants to co-drive, whether it's my daughter, whether it's my son, whether it's Tony, she wants to jump in there. I don't know, but rallying is just the coolest. So just anything in dirt. This year we've experienced the stadium trucks up in the States at the like pinnacle level, right, running Crandon. And I feel like we're talking before about the discipline of drifting and how much you learn, and from me racing GT3s and being able to have these swap over disciplines. Drifting, you just learn so much because there's that whole other dimension of playing in the car before you've actually lost control.
You're always past where most drivers would have given up, right? Most drivers are like, oh, the car's starting to rotate, I'll lift off and go around.
Now I'm plucking another gear.
We're deliberately forcing it.
Yeah.
So I think it opens up so much more opportunity, especially within racing, to be able to do different techniques or even just the speed of footwork, right? Like the amount of activity that you've got going on in the footwell is insane. And for a lot of road race drivers, like they're only doing that through a couple of corners, or they're doing heel and toe through a couple of corners. And we're into left foot braking, still doing heel and toe in a lot of cases, like, clutch slipping to make sure you've got grip. Like there are some really unique things that happen in drifting. And then you look at road racing and you're like, okay, that's it. That's all we have to do. Like I just make sure this car doesn't go off track. Like, cool. Okay, we can handle this.
Well, and then it's like every lap you think from a lead run to a chase run, like I'm changing shock settings, there's a lot of stuff, brake bias, like there's a lot of stuff that we can adjust between each run. And then, look at Shane Van Gisbergen out of New Zealand. Like a circuit racer, but he also just showed up to drifting. He came from motocross on quad bikes, and his first time at D1NZ, he podiumed. Yeah. And then now he's NASCAR's rookie year. He's won every single NASCAR race that's got lefts and rights. And because the team are like, we've set the car up for this track, he sets the car up for every single corner. You watch him changing sway bars, he's changing brake bias, and people are like, he's using the clutch to like just smoothing out the downshifts. And these guys are like, what the hell? How's he doing? How is he so smooth? Where's he cutting all these times? And it's because he's literally using the skill set of motocross and drifting. Yeah. And then, applying it to his circuit racing.
Yeah, the clutch flip downshift was I remember watching like NASCAR highlights and they're like, what is he doing? And I'm like, this is like
Shane Van Cheeseburger or whatever. He's freaking using the clutch. What's the left pedal, bro? I was like, it's a clutch pedal.
Oh, I thought that was the pit pedal. Like they used that in the pit and that was it. Yeah. As a fellow Mazda enthusiast, or Mazda, or I don't know, what's your pronunciation of it? Mazda. Okay. Yeah. There's a few on that one. I come from the 323 Protege Familia world. Unfortunately, never turned into a drift car. I think I actually messaged you asking about the Mazda 3 and how you had the diff set up in that. What has kept you so loyal to that brand? Is it purely a contractual thing? Is it purely the Rotary thing? Or was it like early days and nostalgia is a hell of a drug and you're like, I just got to keep doing this?
That is we go back to, spending $100 and guys are buying drugs and alcohol. And for me, it was Rotaries. Yeah. They were that cheap back in the day.
That's so crazy.
My first car was $100. It was a 1978 Mazda 323.
Okay.
Got out of the trade and exchange. Drove it home, 13 years old, no license, made it home without being pulled over. Nice. My buddy, he had $200 and I swapped my skateboard for a fully written off RX-7, like Series 1, but had a 12A in it. Body was absolutely destroyed, but we pulled the 12A out of this RX-7, put it into this 323, and here we were 13 years old and had rotor converted a 323. And I remember the hardest thing to figure out was the conversion from a cable clutch to a hydraulic clutch. But all the parts were there. It was just like figuring out how we're doing that and swap the bell housing between the gearboxes. But just that passion alone, it's way more difficult, but it's way more rewarding. And that's the building process, the driving process, and then at the same time, the entertainment value. I feel like that's just who I am. And we've had... I remember when Red Bull signed with the V8 supercar team in Australia, which New Zealand, Australia, V8 supercar is huge. Full factory deal with Holden Racing. We're going to build your shadow car. You'll be able to do all the drift demonstrations, and I'm like, nope. Fanger Dan, he's your Holden guy.
Yeah.
Go hit up Fanger.
Yeah.
They're like, wait, what? Fuck, no wonder why they call you mad. You know, Ian Stewart, some of the contracts
That's
that have
crazy.
been on my table.
You've just given up.
For Formula Drift USA.
Yeah.
Like, Vaughn Gittin Jr., man, like he's been, okay, from the outside, a lot of people probably look at us as arch rivals, Monster versus Red Bull, Ford versus Mazda.
Yeah.
There's no one in the industry that's helped me more than JR. Like him, Ryan Turek, and Forsberg, and Angelo literally took me under their wing when I first landed in the States. Tony and I are traveling, living out of the freaking trailer, you know, drive across the States for 4 days, unload, put it on my side skirts, get my car going, pre-mixing my gas, go out there, driving. I'm like lining up with Vaughn, like, yeah. He's just like, calm down. You know, so it's little things. But
Tony telling you to calm down. That's saying something.
Yeah.
You know, and Tony's like, yo, you're going a little hard. Like that's a pretty high level to achieve.
yeah, so like having that support. Sorry, where was this freaking question going? What was the question?
Your allegiance to Mazda. You were talking about how Vaughn had offered.
It's from the pinnacle of deals. Like literally, Falcon was like the pinnacle in the industry.
Yeah.
But for me, like I also had Red Bull. And Red Bull, when I got signed with Red Bull, I never even thought about the performance support, the media support, the financial support. Bro, all I wanted was the blue and silver helmet.
Yeah.
So when I rocked up to motocross, dudes are like, freaking watch this guy.
Yeah.
He's going to be good. And then, you know, so to once getting that deal, like that's something like, it just runs so deep.
Was that like a moment, like that
2008,
paperwork?
2008, like when you know,
which is the financially the worst time for drifting.
Oh my gosh!
And then you get slid that paperwork, and you're like, what is happening?
And I'm like trying to do everything out of New Zealand with 2 cars, 1 gearbox, 1 sequential gearbox. Like I had 1 HKS gearbox, and we'd send the car overseas, and then you know, I remember winning in Thailand, and we flew there with the gearbox, which we pulled out of the RX-8. Formula Drift Thailand, went there. First time we get there, they're trying to, you know, invite us out to a nice flash dinner and go to these big restaurants. And we're like, oh man, we've got to put a gearbox in the car. So we land after a 13, 14-hour flight, put the gearbox in the car. We then win it. And then it's like, want to go and celebrate. We're like, no, we've got to pull the gearbox back out of the car because tomorrow we fly back. But the sacrifice and compromise, and then to be able to have these deals, bro, that are landing on the table between Tony and I, and I'm just like, you know what? For me, I don't know. It's always like the value, and like I want to do this forever. And I know like Red Bull have got my back for a long time, and we've been through some tough times with COVID and not actually being able to travel. Like now, what freaking happens? It's like, bro, I can post from here. I can post from bloody Japan, Bangladesh, bloody wherever, Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
The world can see it instantly, you know. So Red Bull, like, man, you don't need to be traveling just because now you can't. Now, you know, the world's on lockdown. You can still inspire people. So, you know, that for me, I'm like, wow, I just would never want to leave. I would never want to lose that deal.
Yeah.
And as much as some of these contracts that have, you know, freaking 7 like decent salaries to show up for 7 events, and I can still run my program outside of that, but I'm like. I couldn't see myself driving a Mustang. Yeah. This was before JTP's time. Right. I remember being in the middle of doing a film shoot with Red Bull and Kawato-san, the most northern tip of Japan. Ian Stewart calls me and offers me a deal for ASD and Falcon. Yeah. And I turned it down.
That's crazy.
And that would probably been the best chance I ever had of winning a Formula Drift championship. But for me, it was like, the winning side of it was never as attractive as the entertainment side of it. And doing what I did with my friends, I guess like a lot of it comes down to, just the passion and like the reward, you know, sacrifice, the reward, and just doing it with the people that you know and that you've kind of grown up with. You know, I'm like, if my mates, like I remember doing 2015 Formula Drift, I'm like, I need a suspension tech guy. Yeah. Because we'd just put KW, the 3-way shocks. But I had no idea how to set up 3-way shocks.
And that really was like the beginning of the suspension.
Right, I was like, holy hell. Yeah. That was suspension, and like the tire game was just starting to come in. Achilles
was like the 1, 2, 3s.
Like, bro, what are they doing? And then I remember going, so I was not on a factory Nitto deal. I was on a YHI deal here in New Zealand.
Oh, okay.
YHI did Nitto and Achilles and Pirelli. They did a bunch of brands. Yeah. But we went to Gutbull. Yep. And they didn't have enough Nitto, so they're like, we're going to chuck you on Achilles. I'm like, cool. As long as I'm on the same tire, then that's cool. You've got competition and all that. And got up there, and I remember the European team being like, bro, you've got the red bands.
Yes.
Or the green bands or
yeah,
whatever.
There was
hey,
a few different colors. There was like the Daigo gold bands. And then
Vaughan was there with Ian Stewart,
Yeah.
and Daigo had just won the year that year, and he's like, frick, that's the cheetah tire. And they were like, oh, we'll double the quantity and give you $10,000 for all your tires that I just brought from New Zealand. I'm like, I don't know, they're just Achilles 123s.
Yeah.
But they were marked, and like then this is when the tire compounds is like some of these companies would just write whatever, if some rules.
whatever the treadwear.
Yeah, it was like treadwear, or like
200,
New Zealand was like 265. Like our 265 Nittos were like 235. They were like narrow. I even remember running in the States on my Nittos. I was on Vaughan's front tires or on the back of Radville. Yeah, and even Formula Dirt, but like, oh man, my weight category was 255.
Yeah.
But our tire was a 275. But on the actual Formula Drift tool, if you actually measured it, it was only a 255.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, oh yeah, Mad Mike's cheating. He's running 275s on a 255 sticker on the windscreen. I'm like, boom, we're on Formula Dirt once again. Like, it's like.
I feel like at that time though, if you made derp, you knew you're like,
I
we're
know,
good.
we
We're
cracked
in.
it.
We're in.
I remember we did the car for Project Cars, and we're doing all the sound recording.
Yeah.
And we had this big microphone thing, big fluffy thing on the roll cage.
Yeah, the dead cat.
Yeah, and people thought it was literally like a NOS bottle, and they're like, oh, Mike's freaking running nitrous, and it's illegally mounted on his roll cage. I'm like, cool, made Formula Dirt once again. Like,
I joke that like I haven't made it in my drifting career yet until derps like talk shit about
man.
me.
Yeah.
I've like chatted with the derp account now, and like we're kind of buddies. And I'm like, dude, can you just like make fun of me once? Like, it would just be really great if you could.
Yeah.
But, dude, yeah, that's back in the day.
We've done a lot of the sport and been around it for 20 years. Like I say, some of the most attractive, and absolutely honoured, to have the support, from a lot of these guys. But for me, I've just really stuck to my guns. Going back to that question, why Mazda? It's just that's what I started with. It's our knowledge. We've just like Link. We built an S14 literally for Summer Bash for my international guests to drive. Link snapped his drive shaft the day before a Drift Force, which is just my grassroots drift days we do here at Hampton Downs.
Yep.
Link's like, Dad, can I drive the S14 tomorrow at Drift Force? So I'm like, yep, sweet. Okay, Fridays he has work experience, so he's in here and
cool. Good.
I'm like, cool. Today your job is make yourself comfortable in that car. You can drive it tomorrow. So he's moving the seat, moving the shifter, handbrake, and all that sort of stuff. He did 2 laps, comes straight into the pit. He's like, fuck, Dad, this is like the cheat code of drifting. S14, RB25, it still had like a H-pattern gearbox in it, nothing too crazy.
And you're kind of like, yeah.
I'm like, yep, I know, bro. I've been competing against that my whole life.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
running
now
with a weight vest.
I'll show you that car now.
Yeah.
And that's his car, so we retired his MX-5.
Okay.
Now we're rotor swapping that thing, putting a 20B, but it goes back to the Mazda thing. It's just our knowledge. He loved the RB, he loved the power, he loved the sound. It was running anti-lag, the pops and the bangs. He's like, frick, this thing is cool. With 2 events, we popped 2 motors. And we're just in the pit, like asking, like, what oil pressure's safe, what water temp's safe. Like, we're just in this like total, not our comfort zone. And with a Rotary, we just know 119 on the water temp. Oh, bro, she's clear to 10.
Really?
Like if we're helicopters in the sky, it's costing money doing these film shoots. And I'm like, we just have the confidence with the Rotaries, and every one we do is like, we just try and elevate a little bit more, and sometimes it's just going back to doing old school stuff. We just did an old school 13B peripheral port carbureted in my old RX2.
Oh, nice.
And like sometimes it's that simple, but we still, every time we start it, we have that same passion, the same, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, that is just the best, and we just have the knowledge. In 2015, I signed a factory deal with Mazda to actually get support out of them. And like, we had that, like, even Red Bull go, man, we're bringing all these manufacturer deals. We've got Kia, we've got Holden, we've got like a lot of brands that they want to invest a lot of money into your program. And I'm like, it just doesn't excite me. I'm not the Holden guy, man.
Yeah.
And and like now, 2015, I was like, wow, man, I remember. And even, again, it wasn't even the financial support. They're like, oh, what do you need? And I'm like, man, if I could get the 20B fat plates, like in the Rotary, it's like just a non-existent part now.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, if I could get like 3 of those, they're like, oh, wow, yeah, easy, we can make.
Yeah.
So,
Here's a container of them. Yeah.
No, they gave me 3. I'm thinking like, shit, I should have asked for like 10 of those or something. But, and then to cycle 2023, Mazda pitched to Mazda Japan pitched to us to run Pikes Peak. And it was the Mazda 3. And they were like, oh, we want to release and run in the production class with this Mazda 3 front-wheel drive, 4-cylinder. And I was like, honestly, arigato, you know, I was so grateful for the opportunity, but I'm like, I'm not your production class guy. But if we could cut this thing up and make it from front-wheel drive to rear-wheel drive, pull the 4-cylinder out, put a 4-rotor, twin-turbo, 1,400 horsepower, and run it like unlimited, like, yeah, man, I'm freaking in. They're like, oh, sounds nice. Yes, let's go. Yeah. So there we are. We built that car with Kawato-san in Japan, built that car in TCP Magic in like less than 2 months. The entire car. Chopped it to pieces, still built it to Formula Drift rules. Because that's just what we know. We've come to, like, even if we're not competing in Formula Drift, it's just a common rule book where we know works. Yeah. It's always fun. And always, you know, we're still wildcarding different events here and there. We know the cars are safe. We know the cars are fast. And we know the weight distribution. And a lot of the brands we're dealing with already know, we can do this, we can do that, whether it's the cooling system and bits and pieces. So, built that car to Formula D rules and then got 2 world records up Pikes Peak in my rookie year.
That's wild. That's
with the Rotary engine.
Yeah. So what are people getting wrong with the Rotary? Because it does. I mean, in America especially, it's got a bad reputation, which I think is silly. But like, you know, people are like, oh, they blow up, they do this. You know, Apex seals have the exhaust. What are those people doing wrong?
It's it's not a lot of the time the parts, because people buy brand new parts. They're like, man, I just assembled a brand new 13B for my street car, freaking driven it, and I've already lost compression. A lot of it comes down to, it all comes down to your tolerances, your clearances, you know, the tipping of the rotors and knowing what the recipe is, what RPM it's going to do, what oil pump you're using, is it turbocharged, you know, high comp rotors, low comp rotors, and that's just, you know, this experience we have. We've been able to do it for a long time.
You have to build all of it at once. It's not like, you're not building one and then being like, oh, we're going to make this. It's like, no. I want to make 1,200 horsepower. I want to drift with it, or I want to road race, or I want a street. And then everything else has to come out.
Everything. What oil pump? How much oil pressure? You know, some people are like, oh, the turbo ones need, you know, more oil pressure or they need more clearance in the rotors. And I'm like, well, no, because then the NA stuff's revving another 4,000 RPM more. Like, they're the ones that need more clearance. And then the RPM, then you're producing more oil pressure depending on what oil pump you got because of the RPM. And like, you just have this cycle. So every single project we're doing has got its own little recipe.
Okay.
You know, you look at the McLaren, even that was like, individual throttle bodies, peripheral ported, turbocharged. There's so much stuff that kind of is just new to us that we sort of like, let's just try this, you know, and we have the confidence.
What a silly project to like be like, we're going to try something new on this.
Oh man, you wait till the Goodwood project shows up next year.
Is that back there?
It's not back there.
Okay.
No.
We'll talk later.
It's but every year, you know, and that's the same. Elevating the sport, you know, what's next? Stuff cycles in my brain. What's next? What's going to entertain? And it's not so much the value. People are, oh man, it must be nice. You got a friggin' $4 million McLaren to chop to pieces. I'm like, dude, I have the same fun and the same passion chopping up my kids' go-karts. Yeah. It's the same. You're doing it with your mates. You're doing it with your friends, your team, family. I don't care what the platform is. It's almost better when it starts as a wreck or a car. Like, I look at a car and it's got its own personality. It's got its own character. And if it doesn't, you're like, that's what you put into it.
Yeah, I was going to say the McLaren almost seemed like one of the most difficult ones. Like, you would think a vehicle like so set for performance, but like obviously what you did with it, watching that series and seeing all like the weird issues that came up with it, where you're like, we've never had to deal with the engine being back here.
Yeah, and that being the pendulum.
Exactly, yeah, and then the weight, and now we're talking about something that's, you basically have built a gyroscope in the back end, so now it's doing this weird stuff at angle, but like, obviously it works, and I'm sure you've got a very long list in your head of like, okay, now if we do this, and this, and this, and this, and then it's gonna be perfect.
Yeah, it is. And then like the first drive of that car, before thinking about the oil pressure, I'm like, man, this thing just feels so mellow. Like, it doesn't feel violent like it should. But then I come in and the guy's like, holy hell, that is the craziest, most violent looking car from the outside I've ever seen. I'm like, it doesn't feel that way.
The way it snaps,
but because I am sitting so far forward, the front wheels almost come into my calves on full lock. So you're like, it's the back of the car that's getting thrown around. And I remember back in my teenage days we did a rotor swap into like an old Mazda bongo van.
Dude, I love those.
And I'm doing donuts. You're sitting on top of the front wheel.
Yeah.
So I'm like, bap, 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 bap. It's like a slow motion donut. And I'm like, oh, this is so boring.
Meanwhile, the back end's
the
doing...
boys, we just had a couch in the back, and all I see in the mirror is their feet. Bro, the whole couch is flipped over, and they're just, whoa, like this full charge donut just hanging in the back, getting all the G-force.
Yeah.
And so this is the same pendulum effect that the McLaren created. So
where the pivot point in the car is, right? Like you're used to...
hanging on the back wheel.
Exactly.
You're sitting on the back wheel.
Yeah, I mean, the RX-8, FDRX-7, stuff like that, like the car is pivoting almost where your knee is.
Yeah.
Now you've got the McLaren where it's pivoting, a foot and a half behind you.
Yeah.
You're
and
like,
you're
oh,
sitting,
this is so different.
Yeah. So lots of things, and like, every project, nothing, we're still learning. Every time we go to the track, we're still changing stuff. And it doesn't matter whether it's engine stuff or steering stuff, steering geometry. And it's just like, I remember my first drift event, pretty much all Sylvias and Sylvias and Skylines, and everyone's like, oh, what alignment you're running, what tire pressure you're running, what steering knuckles, oh, we cut 25 mil here, and we're just lone soldiers, I'm just going to drive to what feels good, and we'll just keep changing stuff. I remember bump steer. Like I had Chromie, he'd come from NZV8's circuit, like touring cars here in New Zealand, and we spent ages eliminating bump steer. We got all the bump steer out of this car, took it racing, I'm like, bro, it's worse. He's like, it can't be. I'm like, it is so much worse. He's like, how? And then, so we put more bumps, we went the other way, put way more bumps there into it. I'm like, bro, this is so much better. And then what I found was the car, when it would weight up, because under load, it would tow out.
Okay.
And so under load, the harder I'd flick it in and compress the driving tire, it would just actually drive more steering lock.
Oh.
And then what would happen, because I was running such ridiculous offset wheels, my wheel would then hit the firewall and become like a one-wheel brake. So it would almost like rotate the car back from like a big entry. This was my secret to big entries. It was literally my one wheel rubbing on the firewall, locking up, like bringing the car back, running all this crazy bump steer.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to finish the section, and my steering wheel would be like crooked, because the whole rack would have moved. And then I'm like trying to get back to the grid and like trying to lock it the other way and then be like, oh shit. And then sometimes I'd run the next battle and my steering wheel would be like crooked, but it's just what you do. And like, I feel like drifting, it's really about, that's why I love like every one of my cars is the same. Like if I wanted the best chance of winning every event, every one of my cars would be humble. This friggin' RX-7 in Japan, I don't have to think about that car.
Okay.
And it just literally becomes an extension of my body. And that car, like, but for me, the podium and like we'll go back to the entertainment value for us, even building the cars, like I hate doing the same thing twice. I never want to do the same.
Like this whole wall is not doing the same thing twice.
Yeah, or we'll just pull a car Mad Bull's been through 8 different generations now.
Of different engines.
Body kits. I mean, engine configurations stayed pretty much the same, but we've changed like port, overlap, freaking exhaust sizing, injectors, like where we're putting those, throttle bodies. So we're changing bits, but it's like, I just didn't have the money to build a whole nother car at that stage. Yeah. I was like, oh man, I'd reveal a car and I'd be like, oh, I know next time I'm going to do wheels like this or a body kit like that, so you're already thinking. So it's always...
This is cool, but it could be cooler.
Yeah. And so just the reward of just trying to do stuff that people hadn't done before, it just makes it that much more rewarding and entertaining.
Here's what I need you to do right now. Just for if you're watching this on YouTube, this is a very specific thing to YouTube. I need you to go to the share function, and there's going to be a little button at the bottom that says mark at this timestamp or share at this timestamp. So you're going to share at that timestamp, okay? You ready? Hi. Your friend has shared this with you because they would like some FD merch, but don't worry. I'm going to save you some money. You may know me. You may not know me. It doesn't matter. The point is, if somebody is sharing this with you, they want you to buy them FD merch. It's probably a holiday or their birthday, or they got a raise, or they were able to make, most of the drift season without completely demoing their car. I don't know what it is, but the point is they want you to buy them FD merch, and I want you to use podcast 25 at checkout, and you get to save 20%. You can use that 20% to get them a cool card. You could use it to buy yourself some matching merch. How cute would that be? So right now, go to formuladrift.com, check out the merch. Make sure to use podcast 25 at checkout. Do it. You just got to start pushing Mazda to do more vehicles. I mean,
well, Mazda are like, the fact that they support our program with rotaries, they still produce most of the parts that we need. Like it's now easier for us to build a 4-rotor than it is to build a 12A.
Wow.
Like a 12A, we're relying on finding used parts that are still good. Like a 4-rotor, we literally can build everything from all the new parts that Mazda still have, and then we just build a crank here in New Zealand. The rest of it is it's done right here.
It's just stacking everything else.
It's stacking everything, porting everything. And now almost in New Zealand, a 4-rotor is almost more common than 12As.
That's crazy.
It's probably over exaggerated, but but it's easier. It's like I say, it's definitely easier to build a 4-rotor than it is to build old school 10As and 12As, and
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there's like a hybrid rotary that either is in production now, where it's like it is just a small single rotor that's powering that. Have you looked into that to be like, okay, I figured, but
so they call it Mazda, for them to, they don't have a production car now that comes with a rotary engine as such as a full combustion engine. And it's because USA, UK, Europe, like the emission laws are so tough, right?
Yeah,
and just rotaries just burn gas.
It's not what they're good at.
Firstly, we go back to the license plate. But the fact that Mazda now have the MX-30, which is a electric vehicle, the range extender, the combustion side of it is a single rotor. So it's the exact same as a rotary engine. It's a combustion rotor. It's a single rotor. It's very different. Well, not very different, but it's different to what we're using. But right now, we're looking at that like, okay, well, if they've got this, what can we extend onto that?
Right.
So
we can do 4.
Well, let's do 4 and then make this electric engine. That could potentially be the starter motor, or that could be like, that's the range extender, So it's still a hybrid, but we're reversing the technology.
It could just be like a power booster of some kind, right?
So, I mean, we're all, between the team here, we're only a small team. We've got like 4 guys. But between us, we come up with some pretty crazy ideas, and I believe that's how we're successful, is because we just, we believe in just the experience we've been able to accumulate, the knowledge we've accumulated over all the years. Of like, just stepping that little bit more out of, well, let's try this and let's try that. And we're able to build some pretty cool shit. Yeah,
it's obviously very creative, like just going with different rotor configurations and then power adders on top of it. Is there one, like if you had to be stuck with one rotary build where they're like, this is all you can have for the rest of it, what's the go-to?
In a 3-rotor peripheral port.
Really?
Dude, 390 horsepower. So Rad Bull literally went from 1,200 horsepower, full FD spec, 4-rotor twin turbo. That car sat for like 8 months, and then I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to do a fan vote on Instagram. You guys pick the motor. One rule, just has to be a rotor. Think mild, think wild, 6-rotor, triple turbo, there's all these ideas coming in, but the poll went to my OG motor that was in Mad Bull, which was in a peripheral port, 3-rotor. So we literally pulled everything out of that car, pulled all the wise fab out, I put all my cut knuckles back in it. I mean, the thing was always in the weeds. It was always low. But, just took a lot of that stuff out. And went out there and like we still ran podiums. We still, we've won the insane entry here at Hampton Downs with a 390 horsepower setup, running radials. Went to Australia, the International Drifting Cup. Managed to knock out 2-time Australian champ with a NASCAR powered 370 with the big semi-slicks. Bro, we were doing 2 battles on the same set of tires.
Wow.
We were running an R1R, which was a way harder compound to what we'd won the championship with in Humble in Japan. So we're doing 2 battles for a set of tires. The boys would just splash gas. Yeah, good to go. And for me, it was like really cool. And like that car, like to drive it, like I say, going back to with Max would put him in the 4-rotor. But you just have to drive it. The sound, the precision, like you just have to be so precise and savage is the word. Like,
you have to fight. You have to battle with the car.
You're fighting the whole way through. But when you get it, it's just like, oh my gosh, that was the freaking most rewarding run.
Do you think there's something to that? Like, admittedly, as we talked about the S14, like there are so many platforms that are just very easy to drive when it comes to drifting. But do you think because you've had to fight basically every car, that's made you a better driver and has kept the attention? Because it's like, S14s just blend in, right? E36, E46, whatever car you want to pick, they all just blend in at the track. Whereas you're going to show up with something that, one, sounds different, looks different, and performs different. And that has given you that edge?
Yeah, I believe a lot of that instant is the fact that I always look at who wins practice.
Right.
Bro,
Yeah.
I was like that in motocross. Like
Yeah.
usually 8 to 11s on an 80cc. Like I'm a little YZ80, there'd be a big double, and I'm like, man, I got the opportunity to be the first one to clear the
To do
double.
it. I'm gonna be the
Even if
guy.
I'd go around the outside of the berm and get a massive run up and clear it. And I'm the same, like with drifting.
Yeah.
First impressions last. Though that first freestyle motocross demo, I remember the Australian guys coming over here, and they had like a trick list on their bar pad, and it started with like knack knack and then heel clicker, and it got trickier and trickier.
Yeah.
I'm like, frick, I didn't have enough tricks actually to even, it wasn't growing up on a farm. I would just go with the craziest, hardest thing I knew. And I knew either if I landed it or crashed, I'd captured everyone's attention. So first impressions last, and whether you're building the car that way, whether you're driving that way. So with Formula Drift, I believe a lot of that was not just the fact that it's a rotor, it's just come out swinging. And that's why I love, when Formula D had the qualifying where you were rewarded for that first lap. And like, I was never like the super high qualifying guy because my strategy was always just go out checkers or wreckers. Probably more than 50% of the time I would zero the first run.
Yeah.
Because I've just freaking gone either into the wall and created a lot of work for the team now, whether we even make it back for another run, or we're driving with something that I'm having to drive around a lot of problems because we haven't had the time to fix it properly. So, but it's that first impression. I was like, fuck, when people show up and it's like, Mad Mike is in the program.
Yeah.
Oh, what makes this guy mad? As I say, I hated the name at the start, but then like 2010, cycling, competing in USA, I'm like, what's going to separate me apart from frickin' everyone else? And it goes back to that DVD. I remember seeing that DVD. I can't even tell you who was on the podium, but I remember Nomikin, who had all the frickin' little like gestures, and he was this crazy little monkey guy. And I remember Yuichi Mimura, who was in the RX-7, and Kuma Kubo and Team Orange. And I just remember the personalities and the characters.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a circus, and I can be a character in that circus.
Do you hope that's what the legacy is, like when you do retire, that like...
That I'm a circus?
Yeah, no, seriously. Like
I really hope I inspire people to be part of the circus. And
Yeah.
like I say, if you're focused too much on podiums and winning, like judging is a frustrating sport to be in if you're focused on that, because humans will make mistakes. We talked about it earlier, there's so much smoke, and you'll win some and you'll lose some. It doesn't always go the way it should, but if you're focused too much on that, then you are going to be frustrated. I feel like if you're just focused on going in there, number one, having fun, and the entertainment value, giving the fans their $20 worth, frick, you've won the event before it's even started.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like I'd be amiss, and people get mad at me if I didn't ask. Any thoughts, plans, or anything to come back to FD, or what would it take for that to actually happen?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. I really miss the fan base.
I was hoping this weekend, this past weekend was like the spark to kind of get this going. I'm sure there's a couple of messages.
Dude, it's been 2016 since I've actually competed in Formula Drift USA, and I felt like then there was a few rules and stuff that was got a little frustrating.
Well, that was like back with like the instant zeros and stuff, and you go two wheels it's been a little bit more lenient now.
Yeah,
but
for me, none of that is why I never came back.
Okay.
For me, it was just more so, the investment in time.
Yeah.
Bro, that was the biggest thing with Link. And like I said earlier, people are like, man, I can't because I got kids. I'm like, I am because I got kids. And I always make sure my priority is my family. And I just wanted to invest more time into Link. I feel like he was on this rapid trajectory in life of his racing and off-road racing and going to the States. And he's like, oh, Dad, one day, man, I just love, same, those heroes that I watched, Ricky Johnson, Brian Deegan, Jeremy McGrath, they're all in stadium trucks. And I'm watching them like, fuck, this is pretty cool. I've had that opportunity now to race in that championship. But Link's there in the grandstand going, wow, Dad, this was probably the cool. I feel bad because he's faster than me behind the wheel. Red Bull have wildcarded me into the driver's seat, but I'm like, man, Link would be.
You should be getting him
He would be. He's going to be further up the grid than I am. But for me, just to be able to fuel his dreams, and with Jet as well, my daughter, that's the biggest thing I want to accomplish in life, and being able to fuel their dreams. And Link, he wants to go and do this and do that. I still really would love to go and can do another, even if it's not a whole championship.
Couple
I remember
rounds.
do the wild cards. We've still been able to do that with Drift Masters and bits and pieces. And I feel like if championships allow that, then I'm freaking all in. Me in a perfect scenario, if I had my dream scenario for Formula Drift, would be come and do demonstration runs with passengers. Because the freaking coolest part of my entire program is letting people have the experience. Not just the experience from watching, but this last couple of years I've been doing Dori Dori, Gunsai, the most ridiculous, like crazy events, but the fans are not there just watching. They're driving with me. If they're not driving with me, they've got the opportunity to win hot laps and actually run and feel my adrenaline and my fear and all of that. And so in a perfect world would be literally rocking up to all these events and just, buy a ticket. You're in the draw to win a hot lap with Mad Mike. And then people are, that's what I do at Summer Bash. Yeah. Literally Summer Bash, here 6th of December, it's my big event. The fat cars have got as much of a fan base as, if not more than I have.
Yeah, they know the cars more than they know you.
Bro, where's the Mad Bull, bro? Sure, you should have brought the MX-5 Rad Bull. Where's this? Where's that? I'm like, well, if you come to Summer Bash, they're all there.
Oh, cool.
But, you buy a ticket, like this is the coolest part for me. The coolest thing I can give away at Summer Bash is buy a ticket. You're in the draw to win a hot lap with me. You win it, you can literally pick any one of my cars on the day and you can ride in the freaking Lambo, you can go to the 787, cool. We can, like, one year they wanted to go with Link, so they went with Link in the bloody S14. I'm like, okay, cool, well, we're going to draw another winner, so we end up with another winner that went, and then they wanted to go on the taxi, so I'm like, well, if you want to go on the drift taxi, bring your 2 mates, because we've got 3 seats available.
Let's go.
So,
let's party.
And then just that engagement, goes back to engagement, inspiration, and I'm like, that's the coolest thing. So I'm like, if I could we're building a car now, Formula D rules. Like I say, not so much to go back and do the whole championship, but we just know how to build a good car around the Formula. It's based literally, it's the global. It's kind of the standard. It's the standard.
Yeah.
It's safe. Really, it's freaking fast. It's challenging because we're not allowed to change a lot of stuff. Subframe. You look at this wagon.
Yeah. I'm sure the subframes.
Bro, D1 GP rules. Literally, you translate that to English is like you can pretty much change any subframe, put anything in there as long as it's as strong or stronger than factory.
I do kind of like that.
Dude, it is freaking cool because that's what got us like, I'm like, dude, we'd just done a lot of development with Link's NAMX5 with his rear subframe. So we're like, let's put IRS in the back. It's a flat subframe on the top. A wagon is flat. At the same time, we're able to body drop at 200 mil. So it's got the geometry of being perfect.
Yeah, love it.
However, it's a wagon and the roof height's lower than an S14 or an RX-7. Cool. The steering is like half RX-3, half 808, half Hachiroku. Bits and pieces from all different things. Every round we were changing stuff, but like, the rule book's really open. So we're like, man, what do you do? Where like FD is way more challenging and you've got I don't know, I feel like that, like you said, it's the standard of for safety, speed, and really thinking outside the box on how you can make these cars work.
There's 2 big conversations. I mean, one conversation with 2 kind of big sides right now when it comes to FD in particular, and that is we've gotten to a point with tires where like these cars are stupid fast. We're at a really good spot. The cars are good. The rule set is good. Like, there's always improvements that can be made. And then there's the argument of, let's go full tube frame. Let's go whatever tire you want. Like if we're running, 355 drag radials, we can do it. Let's build the cars for it. Let's open the rule book up completely. Where do you kind of sit in that argument?
So I love the fact that right now you can put any freaking motor in just about any car and go drifting. And that inspires the people to, like, man, I could do this. I could go buy that MX-5 off Marketplace and literally do a engine conversion and I can go and start drifting. Yeah. And you can literally do that in your garage. Where I'm still on the side of having a spec tube, like a spec class. Yeah. Okay, the wow factor is not going to be there for the spectator side of like just
I could buy one of these.
Innovation of like, whoa, he's put a friggin' 1500 horsepower nitrous fed supercharged friggin' turbocharged diesel into a Mercedes. Now something like this is what excites me. Like doing all this crazy stuff. Like, man, what? Like now we're putting 1,000 horsepower 3-rotor into an S14. Oh, cool. So it's like having that is cool because people come to drifting to not even watch the drifting.
Just to look at the cars.
Just to look at the cars and be like, wow, that's cool. I love the way you've done this and you've plumbed that up and you've or done the steering and I'm going to do that to my car. It's just a street car. Like I don't really like drifting, but I just love the cars and the innovation, the workmanship. So I love that side of it. But then at the same time as a driver, I would freaking love to compete in a spec class that you're all in the exact same car as like a minimal tire pressure and like that's it.
Yeah.
Because then you just, even if they're like freaking 200 horsepower, 300 horsepower, but it's like you have a body that you could pick. So there's maybe, that's the same kind of geometry.
Yeah.
And you just pick a body and your graphics. So you have some kind of like difference to differentiate yourself from everyone. But driving wise would be so freaking fun. If you're on the exact same balanced car, same tire, same suspension, same engine configuration, that would be a lot of fun.
Just to see.
Just and even spectating wise, like okay, I won't have the excitement value of like the smoke and all the different sounds and the different shapes and styles of cars. But like to watch the proximity and the driving and how you're going to match the other guy to battle and beat that dude is going to really would be a lot harder, I reckon, than what we've got now.
Pure driver skill then.
Because now we rock up you look at, especially when we're competing in Formula Drift Japan, you go from car park tracks, where Okabuki, where it's up a freaking road, across a bridge into a car park. Then you're at like Suzuka, smaller, more grassroots style track. Then we're at Fuji, Okayama, like Formula One style track. So every round you've got you got these 10 guys on your radar, either their driving style or it's these 10 guys because their car chassis, the longer wheelbase is going to be better here. And so I feel, you come to the final round and mathematically there's 5 people that can take the championship away.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Yeah. Not just for the spectators, but for us as drivers and teams. It's like, man, I mean, if you're walking away with a championship, it's almost like, what's next?
Yeah. No, that's a solid point. There's, I want to say it's Stadium Super Trucks. It might be one of the
I did the Stadium Super Trucks, and this was 2015.
Yeah.
And this is what, racing those, a spec truck, I'm like, bro, this is so freaking cool.
Is it, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it with them where you don't know which chassis you're getting until that weekend?
Yeah.
The series owns the chassis.
I blew one up.
Yeah.
And then...
Shocker.
Well, I'd square off this bit, but we're in Costa Mesa. Okay. I met Robbie Gordon at Goodwood Festival of Speed.
Okay.
And he's like, bro, he was like, bro, I got to get you in one of my trucks.
Oh,
and I'm like, well, I'm going to be in the States 8 times this year doing Formula Drift. And he's like, well, if it aligns, let's make it happen. And I'm like, well, in 2 weeks, I'm in Long Beach. He's like, well, we got Costa Mesa. So cool. We went and ran it, wildcard. Freaking qualified second. Never driven the truck before. That night, the first round, I ended up squaring off this corner. I'd lose one position, but I could hit the booter on the inside and clear the whole sand pit. But I'd have to stay fully pegged in there. So the momentum of the thing being on full throttle and plucking up to third gear, the momentum of the wheel in the air was the same as a motocross bike. It would hold the front, would pick the front up.
Okay.
Because everyone else would try it, they'd just straight endo into the sand.
Right, they come off throttle or whatever and it would dive.
So I'm just, and of course I'm now the guy that's full limiter through there. So there's flame. The kids are like, "Oh, you the guy with the flames coming out?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's me." And then boom, freaking blew the motor up. And then so I thought I was out of the whole weekend. I show up the next morning, and we'd do a driver's briefing, and Robbie's like, "Okay, Mike, you're in the same truck," which was actually a different truck, but he had just swapped the body over.
Okay.
The one rule: don't drive it like a Rotary. And so we're back in it. So they do swap bodies around. I don't know how or what they are. Robbie seemed to always have the faster truck than.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it's his championship.
Yeah, but, it is what it is. Yeah.
But I think it's cool, the way he did it. Obviously, he got us in there as a bit of a celebrity and just to experience it, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah. And for me, it got me hooked. I'm like, oh, no wonder why Link's freaking racing off-road, because he's like, it's drifting and jumps and freaking 20 laps.
And everything else.
Yeah, we're rolling and flipping and getting covered in mud. And I'm like, okay, off-road racing sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of, there's just not enough weekends in the year. That's the problem.
No, well, this year I got to experience the pinnacle. Red Bull wildcarded me in with Andrew Carlson, Carlson Motorsport. They're based up in Minnesota, and they have the ERX track, and went up there, and within the third lap, they're like, dude, you would have qualified second 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
And for me, it's my motocross background and drifting, combined. And I remember going into Crandon, they're like, man, this is the fastest round, we're 100 mile an hour. I'm like, that's nothing.
Yeah, cool.
Mate,
and?
Yeah. They're like, yeah, but you're blinded by dust. I'm like, yeah, drifting, we're friggin' in thick smoke. That's the adrenaline when you're lost.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going in there this is going to be a walk in the park, Not expecting I'm going to go win it, but doing the 100 mile an hour and being blind, I'm going to be used to that.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Dude, we took off. I'm like, look, I remember Keegan Kincaid, he's in front of me, and I could see through his truck. He had no radiators low mounted. So I'm like, okay, just position. That's my visual.
Yeah, just keep
through him.
Yeah.
Freaking green flag drops, is just instantly blinded. I can't even breathe. I'm like winded from the rocks and the roost.
Oh.
And just mashed. We're just getting pushed. Like, I have no idea. These guys have been doing this for a long time. So they probably count to 10 and know, like, okay, this is 100. This is where we pitch into turn 1.
Oh.
I'm just bang, bang, bang. The trucks, and I'm just pitched in. Whoop. Throw it in, and I can't even pull tear-offs fast enough. Like, it's just, pull a tear-off, splat, blind.
Next
like,
one.
Splat, boom, fucking rocks.
Might as
like,
well just keep one hand up there.
dude,
Yeah.
I'm like, straight away after that first round, I said to Andrew, I'm going home. I'm going to sit on the couch with my tear-offs, and I'm just going to practice the technique. Because he's trying to also tell me the technique before the race. He's like, okay, you got to pull, like, pinch, like hook, pinch, pull out, across.
Yeah. Or you'll pull like 3
He's
off
like,
at once. Yeah.
Or you'll tear it, and if you tear that one, then you're stuffed.
Yeah.
You literally are it's all coming off the next one, the whole lot.
Yeah.
And so I'm like on the start line, I'm so nervous about tear-offs. And I'm like, usually in New Zealand, we got like 10 stacked.
Yeah.
And he's like, how many you got there? I'm like, 10. He's like, bro, you need at least 30. I'm like, 30. He's like, bro, 10, you'll be done by turn 1.
Wow.
And so I'm like, also hand down, you're like just mashed, kind of feeling it out. And, but yeah, it was the funnest, most exhilarating, most insane thing I've ever done behind a steering wheel was race Cranbourne.
That's saying something.
And now I am freaking hooked.
Was it like a text to like Vaughn right after and be like, bro, I get it
Vaughn
now.
was there.
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah.
He was there.
Yeah.
He well, I remember doing the live stream and Vaughn's on the podium. He was running his King of the Hammers thing, and like, yeah, it's like same with Vaughn coming from motocross and like just the tie. It's like, it's the coolest thing you can do. That's like, it's drifting, but it's jumps, it's motocross. It's like, but you got a roll cage, so you feel kind of a little bit safer and than flipping dirt bikes. But,
Each comes a cage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's me hooked now. Now we got like, you know, what can we do? With Link and I both won the New Zealand Nationals.
Yeah.
Here, he's an unlimited buggy. I'm an unlimited truck.
B-Series Mazda.
Yeah, both are. Well, he's a 2-rotor PP and I'm a 3-rotor PP. So he's like, I'm like, yeah, you're lighter than me. He's like, yeah, you got another rotor than me. And then I'm like, yeah, but then you got transaxle. He's like, yeah, you got an extra gear. And so we got this banter. I remember just this year with Link, and we, like I say, we both won our class. It was like, you couldn't have scripted it any better. The whole finish. We separate classes, but we race together. So unlimited buggy, usually a little bit faster by like half a second to a second faster than the trucks, because we pick up a lot of mud. Like New Zealand, we have sticky clay. Yeah. So it like sticks to the trucks, or we just have the era of taking these truck bodies around. So anyway, Link's leading his class. It's the final race of the day. I managed to get through all my class. I get through all of his class. Now I'm freaking racing. Like, I got to beat this freaking kid. Yeah. And I am pushing. He's up on 2 wheels. I'm like, fuck, thinking I'm pushing him too hard. Yeah. But then I'm up on 2 wheels and I'm like, I got to beat this guy. Yeah. And last lap, last corner, come out, and then his buggy just goes into limp mode. And I'm like, I can hear it. Whoop, bop, bop, bop. And I just take it. This is the opportunity. Come in. And I just like photo finish. Oh, no way. I beat him. I'm just like, yes. Get into the pit. Link jumps out. He's hugging me. He's like, fuck, that was the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. It was like highlight of my career. And then this dude, obviously a father, is like, oh, real cool dad, bro. You can't even let your kid win. And I'm like, let my kid win? Bro, I ain't going to breed any legend by letting a kid win. Yeah. You know, you can't gift it. You got to earn it. Yeah. And I'm like, bro, every single day is a competition, whether it's on the simulator, I'm practicing for freaking Pikes Peak, and he'll come and just stand and do 3 laps and beat my time, or whether it's jumping our BMX bikes or riding motocross. And like every day is a competition in the family. We've got very competitive. Even Tony, she's X3 and Z BMX. Yeah. So we've got a very competitive nature. But anyway, so I'm like, yeah, I won up. I freaking won the last main. We're both going home. We both had the 1NZ trophies. Link's in the passenger seat scrolling on his phone. He's like, oh, Dad, by the way, I got fastest lap of the day. I'm like, fuck! So he's looking at the transponder time. So I'm funny. Like, shit. But yeah, just like the mentality of this guy coming up and being like, oh, real cool dad, bro. You can't even let your kid win. I'm like, nope, definitely not, mate, because I'll just take him as long as I can. Because it's
not for much longer.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. The competitiveness of drivers, I remember I worked with a Pro 2 team back in the day, and that was like when I had realized that I wasn't competitive. It was because I was hanging out with this driver, and his name's Riley Sexsmith, phenomenal driver. But I remember just watching him walk to doors, that he always had to be the first person to get to a door. Yeah. And then I started watching with other drivers, and you could see like them both walking just a little bit faster. And I was like, everything is a competition with you guys. Like everything is, but it's also what makes you great. Because if you're not competing at everything, then you're never going to win anything. It's such a different mentality that like I in that moment I'm like, oh, I don't have it because like I'll never be that way. But I've seen it with basically every great driver. Yeah, you guys are all like that.
That's funny. Like my daughter, she is so. I remember her first lap in her truck. I'm like so nervous. She would have been like 7 or 8. And I put her out here on the gravel, so it's loose. So I knew she wasn't going to roll, but she could still lose it. There's still trees and stuff around. Like I'm still nervous. She just full send the first lap. I'm freaking out. I run out in front of her. I'm like, Jet, stop. I'm like, Jet, you need to slow down. She's like, but Dad, this is as fast as it goes. I'm like, yeah, you need to slow down. And her eyes, you could just see, she just was like, wait, she couldn't
comprehend.
Comprehend that. I'm telling her she's like thinking I was going to be like, oh yeah, Jet, man, freaking checkers or wreckers. I'm just like so nervous. But it's funny with Link because I was the opposite, of him. Like I say, he was a late walker, but I was like, come on, crawl, freaking stand up, freaking ride a bike, drive a go-kart. And then he's like 4 years old and could beat me on a simulator. I'm like, what the hell? And he'd just slide the simulator. I built one and put it on the couch. And I just slide it in. And he was so short, he couldn't even sit on the couch and reach the pedal. So he'd just stand on the throttle. And then he'd just modulate the wheel speed with the clutch and the gearbox, which is exactly like how I drive.
Yeah.
And he still drives like this to this day.
That's funny.
And so he just through the whole time. And I'm like, he's picked that up. And that's exactly what I do. The Rotary, you got to keep it in power band. You got to keep it in boost. And like when the V8, you can like really modulate wheel speed with the throttle. I'm like, man, the rotor, even with 1,200 horsepower, you can't do that.
Are you clutch slipping that much?
I'm freaking, dude.
Really?
We're running these sintered iron plates that we're just, but carbon, I'm just melting, like literally melting the plates to the firewall, to the flywheel.
It's funny because clutch slipping now in FD has become more prevalent again. So I think it's really interesting. Like looking at old foot cam footage from like, let's say 2020, there was 1 or 2 drivers that were doing it, and now it is like standard practice and I think some drivers think it's like, oh, the judges can hear the engine. If they hear me come off, they'll think I'm making an adjustment. Yeah. So like even the V8 guys are doing clutch modulation. I don't care
what the judges are thinking.
No, you're just like, I need to keep this in the power band.
It sounds freaking cool. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, dude, you're just losing points for that clutch kick through the section. I'm like, clutch kick, bro, that's me upshifting because it pops a massive flame and then literally just boom, freaking
back down again.
Yeah. That's not a clutch kick, bro. That's just the flat shift, for the bang.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I kind of want to wrap up with a bit of a reflection back. Sitting here now, you've got, insane facility, millions of dollars of cars out there. I mean, tens of millions of dollars cars at that point. X amount of million back there. I mean, I don't know what we're allowed to talk about our show. Yeah. What would you, at this standpoint, go back and tell that 13-year-old who's getting arrested, who's in deep shit, who probably at that point in time had no idea, figuring the future was going to be behind bars, but like, what's that advice to that kid now?
Well, to cut it really short is dreams don't work unless you do.
Ooh, I like that.
And I feel like, if you're not nervous or like, drivers are like, oh man, I'm not scared, or anything. Everyone's got a different fear level. And if you're not feeling fear, whether it's freaking spiders or snakes or whether it's driving off heights, like everyone's like, if you're not scared, like you need to just push that a little bit harder so you do feel that. Even like Link was like, Dad, how do you not get nervous? I'm like, oh, I'm nervous. Like, because I know I'm going to, like, if you're not nervous, the reward ain't big enough. You need to find something else that makes you nervous because it's a good feeling. Yeah. And like I say, dream big, hustle harder. Like, if I can do it, so can you. Like, yeah, man. And I feel like drifting is this, if you're chasing championships and racing, man, it's going to cost you a lot of money. Yep. Because like I say, going back to your kids with the go-karts, might be $1,000 go-kart, but you're racing for tenths of seconds, and if your dude pitted next year is putting brand new tires on, you want to beat him, you need to be doing the same. Yeah. Drifting, bro, you don't need to be winning to make it.
Yeah.
You literally can capture this on a phone on some corner that you post on Instagram and it's got 10,000 views.
Yeah.
It's got 100,000. It gets millions of views. That's
Just doing donuts, man.
Just doing some donuts.
Yeah.
At bloody some car park, in a fun, safe environment. Not
Yeah,
where we
at
used
an
to-
event. Yeah,
at an
sanctioned,
event.
please.
But like that's how if you're chasing, like at Formula One, for them to, they're chasing these clips that were like drifters. It's like skateboarding. You can literally have two guys, a car, and a camera, like a phone, and capture some of the most insane content that goes viral. And at the end of the day, like most of the sponsorship deals that are coming through, even for Link on his channel, it's through Instagram and freaking TikTok.
Yeah.
He's got these big corporate brands like, hey, they want to work with me. A lot of these marketing people are running the channels and like, man, we need this guy to be an ambassador.
TikTok, especially right now. Like,
Dude,
if your driver is not on
God.
TikTok, put your
I'm
politics.
not.
I know.
I'm not. Well, I am.
You can, dude. You literally just launch your own TV channel. So I think you're doing okay.
Yeah, well, I feel like that it's limited, right? Yeah, we have millions of followers and we post, but it's like it doesn't go to everyone now.
Well, it's a new algorithm.
I follow Deegan and I follow the
Yeah.
guys, and I'm like, man, what's Travis been up to? Oh shit, he still posts every day. It was like, how do I not see what he's doing?
It's not follower based content anymore. The algorithm is interest based. Like if you're actively looking at that stuff, that's what you get served. I mean, it happens to all of us, right? Like,
so that's where we're like, let's start this freaking an app.
Yeah.
Like our own channel. There's like, if people are that core and want to follow what we're doing, madlab.tv, let's freaking start that.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's what we've done. And it's like, of course we have YouTube. YouTube's freaking great. The coolest thing with YouTube is free. What really attracted me to social media is 2015 Formula Drift USA Championship, 8 rounds, landing in the States. I still love to ride bikes. I'd go to Sheep Hills down Newport Beach and I'd ride with this dude, Craig. And I remember the end of the day, he was riding like a race BMX bike, and I thought it was like a little bit weird. He was a little bit tatty, but he was shredding. End of the day, I'm like, oh, bro, like, where do you stay, man? I'll drop you off in my truck. He's like, oh, this is home. I'm like, here, at the freaking BMX park.
Yeah.
Shows me his tarpaulin, bro, no power, no water. I'm like, fuck, how do I connect with you on Instagram? He's like, I go up to the cafe, I log in to the Wi-Fi, and I go into McDonald's and I charge my phone. He had like a little old device.
Yeah.
But man, you just inspire me. Your stories every day to keep chasing my dream. This is 2015. I'm like, holy shit, this is mainstream media. Back when it used to be like Red Bull, like, man, we need to get on TV3. I talk about those 3 channels we had in New Zealand.
Yeah.
We need to get on TV3 News at 6 o'clock. I'm like, who even is home these days at 6 o'clock to watch the news? I'm like, well, we've got a cafe here and the mum and the kids. Mums are talking, whatever they're talking about. The kids are scrolling on their phones, and a lot of people are like, oh, look at these kids on games. Mate, actually have a look what those kids are doing.
Yep.
Yeah, my kids are chasing, they're looking at dance tuitions, they're looking at drifting, off-road, like they're watching. They can literally find their inspiration on freaking for free on a device with a Wi-Fi connection. I'm like, this is where we need to engage.
Yeah.
So now I've been doing a lot of talks with Red Bull Athlete Summits to the young athletes coming in, like, this is where you want to put the money. And like goes back to where a lot of these partnership deals, they're coming through friggin' Instagram. It's the drivers that have won a championship and they're just waiting at their desk on Monday morning, waiting for the emails to start dropping in. I'm the new world freaking champion. I'm like, story's already told, bro.
Yeah.
Like, man, a lot of these, like Red Bull, man, they want to find someone that's going to create the stories, that's going to create the YouTube content, that's going to create the inspiration. For us, is like, how can I inspire? And it's like, well, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook is the easiest way. Now with these algorithms cutting a lot of that, they're not seeing everything I post. I'm like, let's start this our own channel. You can subscribe. It's going to cost a little bit of money, but at the same time, you can see what we're building, all the secrets.
Yeah.
You can, at events now, we've got freaking Mad Lab TV lines at Goodwood. Serve merch, you get 10% off the merch.
Yeah.
You can cut the line. It won't work in America. It won't work in America because America, people line up for the longest line.
Yeah.
New Zealand is like, if there's a long line, it's like, I'm just going to skip lunch. I'm going to skip the ice cream. I'm going to skip the T-shirt.
Yeah.
The USA is like, people are just going to line up.
Yeah.
I
They
proved
see a
this.
line? Yeah.
I proved this last year where people were starting to line up at our booth in Las Vegas Formula One. We had the McLaren. People just started lining up. I walked around like, we were just talking about it. And I'm like, I'm going to line up in the line. I tap this dude on the shoulder, like, what are you guys lining up for? They're like, oh, this is Mike's. Wait a minute, what the hell? So I'm like, America's the only country where the longer the line is, like, people are just going to go for. So maybe the Mad Lab short line's not going to work.
Nah, I think it will, because people in America also love exclusivity.
Yeah,
they
right.
like to be a part of something that other people can't get, right?
Yeah.
Like look at like lounges and suites, like F1, like the Paddock Club, like the amount of
Need for Speed 2010.
Yeah.
We did the first lounge room, like, man, you know what? We
games
need to,
and coaches. And
me and Matt Powers, and we're like, let's create a pit that people can come into. The guys are trying to wrench on cars, so the mechanics kind of like, oh, it's a bit weird. But I'm like, yeah, but the engagement and like for the people to come and experience this, jump on, they can play this with this car on Need for Speed. We had Mickey Tucker, she was doing we're doing breakdance competitions before bloody top 16s. You know, it was like me and Matt Powers, all as like the Motley Crew, and like I feel like drifting has just been through so many like there's no stage that's better than the other.
Yeah, they're just different.
They're just different, and I've been so honoured to be able to see so much of it and experience, and still get to do a lot of it too.
Yeah, I mean, I would say you've shaped a lot of it. You've obviously inspired a lot of people. You've inspired people to do crazy things with vehicles that, you never thought was possible, as well as your story just to be like, hey, even if you're in the absolute worst part of your life, that's the worst part. The worst part's over. You can just move on from it.
Yeah, sometimes it's just getting a car.
Yeah.
And like I say, like, even Link's like, oh man, all the kids, he's a teenager.
Yeah.
And all the kids at school want FD RX-7s and S14s, and they're expensive.
Yeah.
I'm like, honestly, like, do an RX-8. They're like freaking 2,000. I did a 10 grand project.
I think they're going to come up in price.
Just do something that's cheap that you can afford.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, it doesn't matter what the value of the platform is. It's almost more rewarding to do something that was like a marketplace find that was someone else's junk, but it's someone else's gold, someone else's treasure. And it's like, it tells more of a story.
Yeah, it has more to it.
If it tells more of a story, it tells more, it's going to be more engaging on Instagram or YouTube or whatever you're trying to do. I don't know. I'm not a YouTuber. I just YouTube what we do. But
I think you just have an inherent ability to know what is compelling, is really what it is. Like, just within you and your personality, like, you don't have to, I know you have to work, but like, you don't have to work for that part where you look at something and go, I would love this. And because I would love it, other people would love it. Like Rick Rubin, the music producer, is the same way. He's like, I don't make music for other people. I make music for me. And it just happens to be that the music I like, a lot of other people like. Yeah. And I feel like you fall into a very similar vein with that.
Yeah, well, even if I'm competing at drifting, I'll go and watch freaking Daigo Saito and those boys come in, and they literally give me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Coming in like, whoa.
Still a fan.
I'm like, fuck, if I could make the fans get that same emotion that I get from watching, I'm like, that's a freaking win.
Well, you're clearly still a fan, right?
I am. I still like, just was at FD finals friggin'.
But like I looked over a few times, and you're there like this, like leaned over the bench, man, like staring at it, like, what is happening right now? James Dean spins out, and you're like, oh my gosh. Like that to me means so much, because you haven't lost it. If anything, it continues to get bigger. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sick to see, man.
Yeah, no, it's cool. We're in a very fortunate, I think, with social media and like drifting. It's, a lot of people look at drifting like, oh man, it's so freaking expensive. But it's like, man, we do Drift Force here once a month. And like, dudes literally, I use Kieran Stewart as an example a lot. He drives from North Shore in an MX-5. Can't even fit a mate in because he's got a spare wheel and the passenger seat, spare wheel in the trunk with his like
jacks there. Yeah,
dude rips back. He's all day on the same set of tires. Arguably has more fun than everyone else. Yeah, drives home and then he's back the next month. And he'll do little things. He'll change his ITBs or just change like little bits and pieces. But like, that's him, and like, that's all drifting needs to be. I'll go testing in Japan. We'll go test for a Formula Drift championship round coming up. Okay, let's go to the track, test the new setup. There'll be some dude and his wife, both in Hachirokus, no stickers on the cars, just because they don't want the commitment and deliverables of having a partnership deal or whatever. They have more fun just because it's their hobby. They can just drive old Corollas that are going to use a couple of sets of tires all day, and they can drive and enjoy it. There's not many sports you can do that. You think racing, if you have a slow as car, it's probably going to be pretty boring. And someone's going to be beating you that you're going to be wanting to spend more money to make your car faster than that guy. Drifting is not about the money and the power. It's like, if you haven't got the power, just send it a little bit harder and faster.
Just go. Yeah, go.
That'll
quicker.
lift the excitement level, the fear level, and then
Someone once told me there's more sad people in $1 million trailers than there are in open trailers.
I bet that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why, like I said before about cherry picking the events, like I feel very honoured to be in a position where, I mean, not everyone believes in the way I build drift cars and the way I express drifting, you know, but at the same time, this is what I want to do. I want to entertain it. I can afford this level that I'm at.
Yeah.
But I have arguably just as much fun doing my drift force days, taking people in the taxi, in the mad cab, as I am competing at a Drift Masters event or doing a Goodwood Festival of Speed demo or doing a Formula One demo. So it's just like, yeah, there's not many forms of sport you're able to do that.
No, I completely agree. You can't do that with F1. You can't just like go to you can go and do the demos, like Coulthard's still out doing stuff, but like
skateboarding, BMX,
but
freestyle,
they all
sort of
sit in the
stuff,
same category, right? Where it is a sport that it's meant to be fun, and then we turned it into a sport. Yeah. And I think that's the difference as opposed to something that's a sport that people are trying to find fun in.
Yeah.
Right.
And the biggest thing people say is like, man, is it frustrating being in is it frustrating to be in a judge sport? I'm like, it's not a judge sport. It's a spectator sport.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good way of putting it.
And for me, I'm like, man, I go to give them their $20, give the fans their $20 worth, you know?
Yeah.
High fives. And I remember my first time in the States and just seeing some of the drivers just signing session. Man, these dudes line up for hours.
And you're just going to whip
and you're just going to friggin' fly them a friggin' hard card. I'm like, not even a high five. Or what are you building? Or like, I just remember like I say, I'm still a fan.
Yeah.
If I got the opportunity to meet some of my heroes, like Ricky Johnson, I still have never met him daily. He messaged me on Instagram, like he's like, man, giving me advice. I have still to this day not met him, but we chat.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, if I ever had the opportunity, imagine if he just palmed me off and fucking flicked the poster at. Like, I'd just be like, man, that dude's really not that cool.
Yeah, it's that never meet your heroes thing. But I don't agree with that. I think meet your heroes. Because then you're going to know who they are.
Yeah, that's right. And I have got to meet many of my heroes. Link's got to meet many of his heroes through the travel over the years. And
has there been like one? Okay, here's one. Has there been somebody you've met and then you realize that they know who you are and you had that moment like you know who I am? Like, what are you talking about?
It's probably not a name that reflects to a lot of people, but Goldberg.
Okay, like the wrestler?
The wrestler.
Yeah, I know Goldberg. Yeah.
Goodwood.
I don't know him, but
Goodwood Festival of Speed, like literally picks me up and freaking spins me around. It's like, it's Goodwood Festival of Speed. He freaking hoiks out his chewing tobacco, flicks it on the ground. He's swearing and cussing about how he's been
proper event.
Freaking trying to study Goodwood Festival of Speed driveway because he got the opportunity to drive one of the NASCAR trucks.
Oh, cool.
And he's like, all I fucking see is you freaking drifting, wop, bop, bop, fucking up the hill. And I'm like, but he knew who I was. And
you're kind of like,
I was like, well, as a person, I just did not expect to know who I was. But there's been lots of people over the years. Stefano De Micali, CEO of Lamborghini. And obviously he followed me and we did a crazy project together and freaking Keanu Reeves trying to hop in my car at Goodwood Festival of Speed and his manager was saying,
sick. That's cool.
No, you're not insured to go in that car. You're doing 4 runs on a motorbike this weekend. That's all you're doing. So I was like, wow,
John Wick, just get in, man. Like
pretty crazy. But
that's got to be a big moment.
Yeah, for me to be able to just and for me, it's almost more rewarding just for our sport.
Yeah.
To be like, wow, that's what drifting is. I'm like, it's far more than just doing some donuts on the.
I feel like we're on such a weird precipice right now. We're so close to the edge of this just becoming mainstream, and I don't know. I feel like we are mainstream in a lot of ways. There just hasn't been that same mass adoption as NASCAR or whatever, right? Because a lot of them go through ebbs and flows as well. There was a point where motocross was massive. It was on ESPN would cover the races, and now that's not quite the case anymore, right?
Freaking live stream and watch it,
Yeah, or even like rally. To try and watch rally now is not an easy thing to do. Whereas there was a minute, even like paintball. You remember when paintball was the biggest sport in the world?
Yeah, you just literally get a gun and fire it off in your backyard.
And
hobby it or do it professionally.
But same thing, ESPN was covering national paintball stuff. And I feel like drifting in general is very close to that, but I'm happy that we've had this slow kind of rise that we didn't ever, we kind of did in the beginning. Like the first couple of years it exploded and then leveled off. But I think because we haven't flashed in the pan and then burnt off, it's got the longevity. But between Max, even Mick Schumacher picked up an HEK car. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
That's pretty
pretty
big.
big,
And
yeah.
like, you know, Daniel Ricciardo's got some ties to it.
Yeah.
And then we're seeing
I took Danny in Rad Bull around the
did you?
F1 track in Melbourne.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was cool for him to experience full FD spec,
Yeah.
1200 horsepower MX-5 around a Formula One track. He said as like the most insane, like lateral grip he had felt, like the side bite of going into a corner backwards, but having G-force going forwards. Like he's like just the feeling, and you know that was one lap.
Yeah.
You know, you're trying to conserve the tires the last one lap, but when you got the opportunity to take a Formula One driver,
I'm sure you're just like, I got to do this.
Yeah, we're going full send.
Yeah. Dude, coming back with
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we're at that point. That story, like I said, NFL. There's some actors that have gotten into it. Like, I don't know what's going to be the linchpin that sets this whole thing off.
I don't think it needs anything because
No.
it is what it is. You've got the grassroots stuff, which will always be there. People are like, I'd love to go compete. I'm like, yeah, when you go compete, you got a lot of deliverables. You got a lot of like
you got to do
commitment.
Yeah,
and
you don't have
grassroots,
to.
like I say, you can go to a freaking track, and you know, New Zealand, a lot of the guys here, we don't realize how sweet we've got it. We've got tracks like littered the whole way down our country.
Literally, like down one highway, there's just tracks everywhere.
That was the
100
other thing of
kilometers,
like wanting to move to California, and I moved to California. Like, man, you got to drive a long way to go to another racetrack.
Yeah.
Even BMX, just doing BMX with my kids, and here like one Saturday we could hit 5 different BMX tracks.
That's cool.
You know, be like, oh yeah, I want to go do that double at North Harbour. Like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, we'll boost over there. It's 30-minute drive. You know, like America always was a mecca and has like the biggest, best, and craziest, but at the same time, we just have so much stuff that wasn't the best, but it was like so many different platforms that was just a stone's throw away. And it's not until now I've traveled the world to be like, man, we really have it sweet as in New Zealand.
Yeah, you do. It's I'm very excited to spend this week here. Like I said, I got a taste of it in the spring, and all I wanted to do was come back, and I'm pretty pumped on it. I really, really appreciate your tips on where to go. I'm about to make my drive down to the South Island.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Summer Bash, that's a good one. December the 6th.
That's-
It makes no sense to most people when you talk about Summer Bash in December, but
I like it.
That's,
It's good. It's good for me being in the Northern Hemisphere because it means like now half the world still has stuff going on, so I can get that.
I could never figure out when I was a kid the Home Alone movie and Christmas with snow.
Yeah.
Like New Zealand, we used to get like Christmas presents with beach balls,
Yeah.
like
I never thought of
surfboards.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's our
like a-
long like
it's a
school
toboggan.
holiday.
Yeah. Huh. I never. Yeah. I that makes sense now that I think about it.
Yeah.
But oh, there you go. Dude, thanks again. This is like it
all
means
good.
a lot. I'm glad that we got to do this in person. You definitely were like, if we're doing this, come to New Zealand. And
Yeah,
we'll
because
do
I
it.
mean, there was a lot of times we nearly crossed paths and like we could have done it here, could have done it there, and I'm like, oh man, I'm not here much.
Okay.
Obviously, a lot of travel. I've literally just landed from after the States was Japan, and
Yeah.
then I fly back out to Japan. Toyota's got 80th anniversary, an incredible milestone. So
Yeah, it's huge.
Big party starts at 4 p.m. and finishes at like 9 or something like that. So
Okay.
the Japanese executives
Yeah.
partying hard, but
Yeah, 5 hours. That'll be a
yeah.
tough 5 hours, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
So it's a lot of travel, but it's been cool to be able to show you a bit of the Mad Lab. I'll take you back into where it all happens.
Yeah, I might
Have a
need
quick look.
a small guided tour to go along with this. So
Yeah.
I appreciate the hell out of it. For everybody listening and watching at home, thank you so much. Follow everything Mike is doing. Check out the app.
Yeah, madlab.tv.
Yeah, that's super cool. If there's nothing else you're going to watch, the McLaren build is wild.
Yeah, we've got like all that stuff's on YouTube, but then we've done like heaps more just raw, rough content on Mad Lab, so it's a bit more like less polished. We've got Isaac that's full time doing all our content.
Yeah.
So
That's a great job.
Yeah, it's cool to be able to have like the nice stuff, for the YouTube, and then obviously little bits here and there for Instagram, and then now Mad Lab TV is just really raw and uncut.
Good. I'm happy to hear that you've in another way forged your own path. Seems to be the title of the episode.
What's next?
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Thanks again, Mike. We'll catch everybody next week.
Yo.
All right, everybody. Thank you for sticking around. I'm going to keep this as brief as I possibly can, but a couple updates, like I said. So first, yes, last episode of the season. Man, what a whirlwind of a year. I won't get into all of it, but obviously if you follow me and my socials and everything else, links down below, you already know what my year looked like. But we are wrapping up the Outerzone for the year. We are going to be back early next year. I don't know if it's going to be January. I don't know if it's going to be February, but we are back. We are renewed. So that's awesome. if you haven't already jumped in, please check out the links below, join the Discord, because that's where a lot of updates are going to happen. A lot of information is going to be there. If you want a community of FD fans, it's great. I can't express enough how awesome everybody is on Discord. It's really fun. There's a lot of cool things that happen, whether it's like early updates. Andy Luck jumps in there, actually probably more than I do. We're planning a bunch of stuff for next year. We're looking at doing a premium model of the show. We're looking at doing some more things for podcast and Discord, specifically members. Yeah, it's basically the best place to connect, talk about FD, get all the updates. A lot of the time the updates happen before anywhere else. Sometimes things get leaked there before they're even on socials. So I highly recommend that. Also, the Outerzone does have its own Instagram and TikTok. We'd love it if you went and followed that. Facebook as well, but I mean, not many of us are really spending a lot of time there, but we'd really, really love it if you went and checked that out, followed it. That's where all the clips are going to be. Yeah, that is that's kind of the main stuff. I really just wanted to let you know. Thank you so much for all the support this season and every other season. This show takes a lot of work to put in. Kyle and Jay, who are behind the scenes, Kyle on the video and editing side of things, Jay on the audio side of things. They put in a ton of effort, a ton of hours. There are nights where we literally have to record this like Monday night or Tuesday and flip it around same night and get it off to FD. Doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And I can't thank those guys enough. For everybody on the Discord already, for all the fans there, thank you. Yeah, we are looking at doing merch for the show as well. So you can go check that out. If you want to get yourself a teal hat, they are available at the shop FD. They're also available on jacko13.com. You can check that out. We've got the FD bracket poster. You can check out this t-shirt we just dropped as well. But yeah, that's the main stuff. I just wanted to say thank you. Please jump over to the Discord. It would mean a lot. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of important information coming out there. If you want your say on what this show is going to look like, please drop it there. And yeah, just thanks again for an incredible year. I can't believe we're through 3 seasons already. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Yeah. So we'll catch you guys soon. Please have a safe holidays, whatever it is you celebrate, wherever you are in the world, and get some rest. And I know I need it. As you can tell, my voice is pretty beaten up, and we'll catch everybody soon. Thanks again.